Happy Friday. Oh, is that too loud? It might be too loud. I don't know. I put the music on and I found this was like such a last minute thing. I found what was the last minute? What is that? Last minute thing. I found the intro or I just downloaded the intro thingy graphic. Anyways, I am so excited about today. So excited about today. And I will get into like the personal stuff at the end of this live. I don't want to start with that. I don't feel comfortable starting with that. So we're going to have fun until then. Welcome if you're new here. Please consider subscribing, or if you've, especially if you've seen a lot of these videos and you keep coming back and you're not subscribed, check that you're subscribed. I got 2 people unsubscribed. Maybe they unsubscribed themselves, or maybe YouTube unsubscribed them because that's a thing. But yeah, welcome. We're trying to reach 500 subscribers. And by we, I mean, I do kind of mean we. It is a team effort here. But also, I haven't even looked at my stats and stuff in a while. Um, the monetization thing, like it's really, I'm trying to come back to. Hold up. Sorry. We will go over this one video that I saw that might be AI, but like I feel like I want to check it out. But yeah, so what was I saying? I don't know. Yeah, monetization, blah 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 blah. Right now I am 300 hours watch hours away from that side being covered, but I'm in the middle to 500. I'm in the middle, almost 250 would be in the middle. So, um, yeah. Hi, hi, Maria. Is it what happened or what is going on? Um. Anyways, let me start. I will go into the whole, regular spiel, but I just logged on to I was going to go to YouTube to see how things are and then saw this video and
Alum's lawyers fought her former co-star's lawyers over where the deposition would take place. Blake Lively is being deposed at her lawyer's office in New York City Thursday for her ongoing. It ends with a legal battle, and a surprise guest is reportedly in the room.
if I was Leighton Meester, I would be really upset about this. I'm so over, and we have just started. I am so over AI. So over. Is it? Oh no. Um, Hi P. It's been a while. Welcome. Hi. So yeah, so this is crap. Basically, the news that we know about Blake Lively. But like, how much of a crappy person you have to be to do this kind of clickbait? You're just like a horrible person at that point. Just no, go away. I'll be a little like funny and say this is a far right person because I was watching a lot about this Sweeney Todd, what is her name, Sydney Sweeney thing, and I watched Pierce Morgan, and it was not his shiny moment. It was not a good moment. He can be. I feel like he's very calculated. I think he does it so well and so on purpose because they do need to stop using AIP. I for sure agree. And again, we haven't even started. We have not even started. Um, but yeah, so Piers Morgan can be so professional and so like spot on and so like on it. And sometimes it can be like trash TV, and that's what I was watching today. So there was a lot of like, oh, it's the far left talking about. I keep wanting to call her Sweeney Todd or whatever. What is that? Is that a movie? I think so. Um, it is absolutely overblown, but I have a lot to say about it. And I did not think I would. I really felt like I had nothing to say about it when I first heard about it, like yesterday or maybe today. Um, and yeah, hi Angel, welcome. And other creators' lives. Okay. Is it like Blake Lively related or just in general creator lives? Um, but yeah, so sorry, yeah. So the whole Sweeney Todd, whatever. We'll just I probably will say that without even thinking about it at some point. But Sydney Sweeney, um, yeah, I have a whole bunch to say. First of all, I just want to say she is blonde. She is blonde. Someone was like, she's not even a natural blonde, blah, blah, blah. Let's just get that out of the way before starting this live. She's blonde by birth. All right, moving on. All right, so welcome. I agree. You mean Perez Hilton used it for court, and it cited an imaginary case. He was embarrassed at court. Um, yeah, yeah. It's so. We've started. We've started with AI. Um, Shirsty was also calling him Paris Hilton. I think she was saying Perez, kind of, but with her accent, it sounded like Paris. And I was like, it took me like whole seconds to think, oh, okay, Perez. I'm like, Paris Hilton is involved in this Blake Lively thing now? Like, what's going on? Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. I have thoughts about that stuff too. Thoughts about a lot. Um, okay, so starters and Jennifer Lopez and all this stuff. Starters. Well, the starters is per usual. If you like this, if you like tonight, if you watch on replay, if you look and you see, oh, whoops, why am I unsubscribed? Because I watch this regularly, subscribe. And if you are not subscribed and you want to subscribe, subscribe. And drop a dolphin in the comments. I mean, no one does that, but I'll keep saying it because I like dolphins. Um, as far as movies of the week, and I will not put the little bar because I am trying to like I'm trying to I'm trying. My brain is trying and I feel like that's a little too much trying. So it's just me and no many frills, right? Frills. But yeah, so movie of the week or whatever. Watched Fantastic Four this week, and my review of it is kind of clouded by the fact that I was like trying so hard for a lot of it to not fall asleep, and that's not the movie's fault. That is not the movie's fault. That is my fault. I was tired. And yeah, but as far as the movie itself, there were 3 or 4 instances that were like stupid. And I mentioned it to someone, wow, brain. And I was saying sorry about that. I was mentioning something like that, or I had started mentioning something like that, and I think it was my new friend, and she's like, Marvel stuff or whatever. I have not watched a Marvel movie in a very long time, like decades, I want to say, like a decade. Like when the first Captain America movie came out, and then Wonder Woman. Was that Marvel? No, that's DC. I don't know. Whatever. I don't see. I don't even know. I don't know. But yeah, it was just kind of like stupid cliche. It was one of those things that were like, oh, it's a superhero movie, superhuman movie too. And we're not going to pay too much attention to close details. This is my hi April, and thank you so much April. Um Brain not functioning. That's why like I'll come in and out of the chat because I am very susceptible right now to being very thrown off track. um But yeah, so yeah, it was not well thought out. It was not like thought out to the last detail. It was just kind of, there were a couple of things, or three or four things that were um it was just, they were taking advantage that they're, big superhero movie, that people are not going to mind that the, we're kind of lazy at storytelling at one point. I don't remember what those are right now. um they were like in the middle and end of the movie. That's all I remember. I don't know. I really loved the aesthetic. I loved that they made the whole world aesthetic. I feel like, I don't know, I just love when people do that and they don't just even like materialist. It had like an aesthetic. It was just very well thought out. Um I started Past Lives and I've not finished it. It's one of those movies that I don't really enjoy watching, which is a lot of silence. It's that like kind of independent movie feel to it, because it is, I think, independent movie, right? And I don't like those movies. I feel like they come across as trying too hard. I think that is really just like filmmakers just doing something different. I like somewhere in between. I don't like being lazy at filmmaking, like Marvel stuff, and I don't like people being trying too hard to be different, or to be, I don't know. And I don't think Celine Song, I think that's her name, right? I don't think she was like trying too hard. I think she was just like, when you're a creative, you can like be too much of a creative and not so much like a mass distributor or mass creator. And I don't know what I'm trying to say. I don't know. I don't know. Like, as much as you can love or hate Taylor Swift, I was listening to a song today or one of these days, and it's catchy and it's like easy to listen to. You can feel a lot of emotion, you can feel no emotion. But it's easy on like a cellular level. Like the frequencies, the rhythms, the notes chosen, everything, it just isn't hard to process for your body. It doesn't mean that it's not thoughtful, and it doesn't mean that it's not pensive, and it doesn't mean that it doesn't make you think. The same thing with what Justin Baldoni was trying to do with movies, and hopefully he will still get to do with movies. But right now, we don't know where his future lies in filmmaking. But he was talking about chocolate covered broccoli. It's like movies that have a message, that are important and all this stuff, but they're digestible. Same thing with like stand up comics, and like really great and really popular stand up comics are easily digestible. And it's hard to do that. It is not easy to do thoughtful, creative stuff and make it easily digestible, where you don't feel like you have to go through hoops to understand it, or to absorb it, or to process it, you know? And it's not the same. I want to like stress, this is not the same thing as when you're like really thoughtful about like a movie, makes you like sit there and reflect, like whoa, like Parasite, like after that movie ended, I remember it was, I don't have that with many movies, but that one, I just couldn't even get up. I was like, whoa, I need a minute. That was like, what just happened, you know? But that was also very easily digestible. But it doesn't mean that it was like easy to understand, or like, it didn't, like in the sense of like, giving you that whoa, what just happened feel. I don't know. So yeah, Fantastic Four. Um I don't like, I don't even know that it was easily digestible, but yeah, I guess so. But it definitely had its lazy moments. And then yeah, aesthetic was awesome. And I love the casting. I really like the casting. I remember the first Fantastic Four, right? That was with Jessica Alba. Wasn't that like one of the Fantastic Four movies? And everyone was like young and stuff. It was like, so this one felt more realistic, and yeah, I like that. Yeah. Um, coming back into the chat. Sorry. No worries about autocorrects. As long as I can understand. If I can't understand, I will ask. um, happy Friday. Happy Friday. I was reminded of something interesting about Pedro. His father was caught in an embryo stealing implanting scandal at USC. Oh, he fled the States back to Venezuela. He never really talks about his parents. That's interesting. That is crazy, especially with this movie because he's a scientist in this movie. I'm assuming that you're talking about Pedro Pascal. Superhero movies can be extremely formulaic. They don't have to be, but here we are. Yeah. I don't I think that this was like pretty good as far as that. I liked it. I didn't feel like, but also it's like the first one. It's not there's not been one in a while, like a Fantastic Four, I think, right? Versus like Captain America and Captain Whatevers and blah 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 blah. And those are like how many angles from the same story do we have to sit through? Um, but yeah, this cast looks great. Haven't seen the movie yet. Yeah, yeah. I'm very happy with the cast. Um, not that anyone has to make me happy, and I'm not like the biggest like film scientist or whatever. You know those people that are really like studious about films and have like just like they are lacking the monocle. Just like holding it there or like pipe or something and just talking about it. I'm not that. But I do have my high standards in my own way. And yeah, the thing with Pedro though is I think watching Materialists and then this, I I almost want. First of all, he is so vulnerable, and there's a clip where he's like getting emotional and crying over um, the comment that his co-star made. I don't remember her name, and I love that. I think one, we need that more as humans. We need that more as men, or as far as men. But I also think like acting, it is so invaluable to be able to be that open emotionally and yeah, I think the world has shifted more and more towards that and wants that for a while, for like a few decades, I think. And to like echo to like the future topic of Blake Lively, she doesn't have that, and she makes these like hard-shelled jokes, and she takes pride as far as what she says. I think I wonder if she takes pride. This is like my opinion, wonderment. And I wonder if she takes pride in it, in not being vulnerable because she can't be vulnerable, because she doesn't care, because she might have some sort of narcissistic qualities or, um, you know, NPD or whatever. Um, and or for whatever reason she's maybe stuck into like the world where you have to put this facade on and be strong meant to not have emotions and to be more intellectual and to crack jokes and um Ryan Reynolds too, like they have to adapt. There will be an audience for those types of shielded people that don't have a soul. They have a soul, but like as far as like when they're on camera, they make jokes, they you don't connect with them both behind the screen and when you're interviewing them. um and but they come across very personable sometimes, so there will always be that. But I think people in general want more and more authenticity, meaning you're human, have emotions, have like real emotions, have bad days. um and that kind of, I'll talk about Jennifer Lopez first. That kind of makes me think of that because I I do not like the narrative that's going around around about Jennifer Lopez. I think it's I think it's kind of like the same narrative that people have about this, not Sweeney Todd, Sydney Sweeney. My gosh, I hate her name. Sydney Sweeney ad, as far as like, oh, like sex sells. I think those people are the same people that are criticizing Jennifer Lopez. So we'll get into that in a second. Um I haven't seen it either. When you have a chance, search Jose Balmaceda. Okay. Didn't even know. Yeah, I guess, yeah. I don't really know anything about Pedro Pascal. Is that like his mom's name then or something? Um, Probably. So yeah, a fertility expert who, along with Sergio Stone, of my own way reasons why I'm like, that name. Let me pull this up. That's kind of like pretty interesting. Um, all right. So thank you, P. So yeah, he was. This is the AI stuff. We'll get into anything else, but um, was indicted for unethical practices, including improper egg transfers and hiding billing. Jose Pedro Balmaceda Pascal is the full name of the actor Pedro Pascal, and his father, Jose Balmaceda Riera. The fertility expert is Jose Pedro Balmaceda. Okay. Yeah, this is where you can go wrong with having, a passed down name. um there's there's an embryo project encyclopedia. Okay. All right. No, I don't want any cookies. I like Europe because you can choose no cookies, but here you can only choose like marketing to turn off. Okay, so Chile, yeah, Chile. That's what I thought. I don't want the whole stuff. In '95, all research at the clinics halted when serious malpractice allegations unfolded. The doctor had allegedly performed egg and embryo transfers without consent. By June, the clinic's doors officially closed and investigations of Ash, Balmaceda, and Stone were underway. When news of the fertility clinic scandals hit the headlines, I don't care about that. I want to know, I want to understand what exactly happened. Most of his colleagues celebrated his return to Chile and dismissed the clinic scandal as gossip. However, his new life in Chile was disrupted by personal tragedy when his wife, leaving Balmaceda with 4 children. In 2001, he was arrested at the Ezeiza airport in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and held for extradition to the United States on charges of mail fraud and tax evasion. Yeah. He was released on bail with orders not to leave Argentina, but failed to attend his court hearing that February. Um, Interesting. Maintaining it would be impossible to find justice under Argentinian law. Fled back to Chile. Mm-hmm. And claims to be innocent of any illegal egg transfers. He also laments the prosecution of his ex-associate Sergio Stone, whom Balmaceda claims never participated in any assisted reproduction procedures. Has given many interviews and made appearances on television. Oh, that's really interesting. Oh, I don't really know what that means. I feel like I'm kind of tired of like crumbs. news crumbs. You know what I mean? Like, give me details. Don't tell me, like, he faced serious allegations of malpractice, including performing unauthorized egg and embryo transfers and misappropriation of eggs. Like, what does that mean? Like, what does it mean? Because there's nuances so many times. I'm now very wary of just taking that, like, oh, wow, bad. You know, I feel like now we've entered into this zone of like extra critical thinking of like, I need a lot of like evidence, not even evidence, like before even getting to that, but I need a lot of details. Like tell me exactly so I can make my decision, you know, because of things like what's going on with Gaza and how like it's nuanced. And I in some way I do understand both sides seeing the other side as evil. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm like, don't give me just headlines based on one side or the other side. Give me all the headlines from both sides and let me understand the nuances of the situation. That's the same thing that I think of this. And maybe this is not one of those things. Maybe this is very like, ooh, bad, you know, no doubt about it. I'm just saying, I'm just kind of reporting back how my brain is doing right now. The little things that light up when I was reading that. I'm not blaming him for his father's crimes, for sure. Yeah. So sad, sense of the father. Yeah. Yeah. But again, like, I will try. I have a little notebook so I can write down, look into this guy. Because if I put it on my workflowy, it will stay there archived. But yeah, as far as the rest of Fantastic Four, oh, I know. So not to give anything away, but at the end, if you guys watch it, if you don't, anyways, at the end, there's something that they could have done in the first place that they didn't do, and I was like, this is me to like this is not logical. This is made to extend the movie longer and like do other things. But you could have spared a lot of time and other things that happened by doing something that probably humans, especially on that caliber of humans as scientists and all that, would have probably not messed up. They would have like thought of it first. So things like that. Anyways, but I think it was a great movie. Actually, I would recommend it. Saw it as an IMAX 3D. I don't get IMAX. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I do not get it. I don't understand the difference. I don't see a difference. And first of all, the one thing is like it's a square like theater. The first time that I heard IMAX, I thought it was Omnimax. We have an Omnimax theater here, and it's like, you know, kind of like the Sphere, but not like 360. It's just kind of like, mm, I don't know, 180, maybe more than 180, I don't know, and curved like that. I feel like those should be the next movies. That's how I want to see my movies. I want to be like really immersed in them, you know. um and so that's what I thought was IMAX, and I was disappointed greatly when I saw it. But I also remember the first ever IMAX that I saw was in Arizona, and it was like a very wide big screen. This was like a little square tiny screen. I don't understand. So I don't understand. I guess the IMAX part is more the quality or something, but yeah. Um yeah, and I don't know if it's like these like lounge chairs that made this kind of difficult, but there's no place where you can really be absorbed in the movie because there's so much space between you and the screen. it's too much space, and I think it's the angle. So I think that, before, being that you're in a seat and it was like more cramped and stuff, it was more of a steep sort of arena seating. Now, because it's like so much less steep, it's not as like pulling you forward into the movie, and there's so much aisle space. Like, come on. So those are my little thoughts on that. Moving on, I want to share, before going anything, I will share this at the beginning now, and I will share this at the end. Fran Drescher said this, and I thought this applies to everything pretty much that I'll talk about now, and everything else. Everything from what we're talking about tonight to politics to everything. I thought this was like the best, just truth, honestly, that we are, for some reason, too lazy, too comfortable, too whatever to act on and do.
Drinking cola today, they'd stop making it tomorrow.
Sorry.
Today, they'd stop making it tomorrow. Wouldn't matter who's in the White House, wouldn't matter what legislation is passed, it wouldn't matter, because the bottom line is the bottom line. So you hold the power. You are the biggest consumers on the planet. So make your choices informed, wise, and mindful. If we all stopped drinking cola today, they'd stop making it tomorrow. Wouldn't matter who's in the White House, wouldn't matter what legislation is passed, it wouldn't.
I mean, tell me that you don't agree with that. It is. It's not even just about money, but even if it's not about money, which it is for 99% of companies and politicians and everything, even if it's not about money, if there is no one there to buy your product, to buy your time, to or like to get your product, like the product will end up sitting on the shelves in your warehouse, whatever, you won't be able to move it, even if it's not about the money. And same thing with, like, politicians giving time, giving all this stuff. So yeah, I thought wise words from Fran Drescher. All right, so let's go into first J-Lo. I want to say, J-Lo, looked it up. She's 56 years old. She's 56 years old. Um, she's been through so much. I can imagine she started in what, early 2000s, 1990s. I mean, when she like blew up. I think it was 1990s, right? When she like first had her first album, all that stuff. And that was after so much that she did on like behind the scenes, living color, hustling and whatever through everything. And Selena, yeah, Selena, I think it was 1997, right? Wasn't it? So, or 1999. Anyways, it was the 99s something. um, and I just thought about this today. She has had to have incredible strength to stay not just relevant, but to stay her course in this industry with all the different potential things. She's been criticized for her voice, for her body, for her like dancing, for not dancing, for dancing too much, for not singing live, or for having a bad voice, or for having a weak voice, or the tone of her voice, for being a diva, for being difficult, for being mean, for being narcissistic, for, marrying too much, being in too many relationships, or getting married to too many people, for being with Puff Daddy or Diddy or whatever, for being with A Rod and Ben Affleck, and for not being with him, and for like all the different rumors, all the different things. I don't know. I don't remember if, like, I remember her butt being more like of a positive comment, but that also is like a comment that she, someone like literally zoomed in. Oh yeah, like people were saying, "Oh, she had her butt insured for like millions of dollars and it's fake and it's not real and all this stuff and blah 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 blah." it must be really hard. I don't know how a human being really gets through that. And I don't know. I just have respect when I think about that. I have respect for her, a lot of respect. There's I saw this on Andy's show, so I don't really know how much. I didn't do that much of a deep dive into it, but um he was basically criticizing that. Do I have his I don't know if I have his. I don't have his video, or like the title of her video, of his video about it. Um, Sorry for the in between silence, because I want to get this right. J-Lo gets desperate. J-Lo gets desperate. J-Lo's racy stunts embarrass family. Ben Affleck refuses to entertain childish antics.
If there's a song,
I personally feel like that's despicable. She's a 56-year-old woman. If she feels heartbroken and she is going a bit too much out of this classy kind of line in the ground that's been set for women generally, and for men, like I would say that I have that idea about men, so, but pop culture wise it's more about the women. But if she has that, let's say that's what's happening, what the freaking ever, who cares? Secondly, it is not that bad. It is like, it's been made into something that it's not. But again, even if it is, who freaking cares? And also, like, other women might be in that position. And also, she's 56 years old. If she is able to do that and she's able to pull that off, awesome for her. What an inspiration for women that, 56, 50, whatever, 45 is not too old to look great, to be sexual, to have a life, to be a human. What a horrible, horrible thing to say, to do. Sorry. Um, Many celebrities burn out or are forgotten. She kept it steady. Yeah, agreed. She's human. Yeah. Um, and same with Sweeney Todd. I swear I cannot say her name. Sydney Sweeney. Is that a movie? I'm gonna look that up. What is Sweeney Todd? Or her. Okay, it's yeah, Johnny Depp movie. Okay, never saw it, but yeah, it's like easier to pronounce. Um, but yeah, like she's human, and she has kept it steady. She has done so freaking much. She's been criticized for acting, that she should stay in her lane as a singer, or vice versa. She has gone through so much, and that, I will say that her prime, she had like a documentary about it, and the movie itself for her album, for her last album, The Greatest Story Never Told, or whatever. I watched it, and as someone who has worked on attachment styles, on my own attachment style, on learning about it, on inner child stuff, on discovering so much, of doing so much therapy and so much, oh gosh, that scared me. On so much discovery, like inner self discovery and work on myself, I will say that I resonated with her movie. And I thought both of them were nothing to be criticized. Like, I understand why people say, oh, look at her. She's so narcissistic. She's so full of herself. She's so, like, calculated. She's so manipulative, blah, blah, blah. And she's, name dropping. She's saying all this stuff. All these people that turned her down, that didn't really turn her down, blah, blah. I don't freaking care at the end of the day. When you like step back and look at what these people have to do and how complicated things are in their industry to stay relevant, to stay afloat, not even on top, but afloat, to all the stuff. it is like small potatoes. And um that's a movie, yeah, thank you. And yeah, like I don't know. I have loved that she's, and I don't know, for me personally too, she's been that inspiration that you can do so much. And in the end, she did it all. She had also kids, and she had all these marriages, and she had all the relationships, and she also did movies, acted, ended up producing now. She has launched products, launched that restaurant. You know, she has gone on these endeavors. Some failed, some succeeded. She has obviously been, you know, a singer and a dancer, and um, she's kept up with all of that too, fitness level wise, and she's a good actress. She's a good actress. I don't remember one movie that I saw where I was like, she is actually a good actress. And I will say also about that Jilly movie or whatever, Jiggly, whatever. Um, that wasn't that bad. I don't know if it was bad at that time for some reason, but I saw it, I think last year or 2 years ago, and it wasn't that bad. It was not that bad. As people were saying, I think people wanted it to flop because it was them, and I think it was just kind of hard for people to understand why they were together or whatever. Um, I don't know. She is, I understand more why or like I don't understand more why she is so criticized than I understand why Meghan Markle is criticized. I can understand, even though I'm like, I don't know, I'm just kind of fatigued about that whole Meghan Markle thing, and I'm kind of middle of the line and whatever, let her live her life. If she's doing something not great, it's not really working for her, is it? So whatever. But I can understand that criticism of Meghan Markle more than of Jennifer Lopez. I mean, Jennifer has freaking done so much, and she's good at it. And I think Shirley was saying she's always been so nice in her interviews and professional, super professional, and that's what she's heard from the industry. And as far as like the diva things and all that stuff, if she has bad days, if she has like high expectations, if she has vanity, what the freaking ever. Like I feel like she is just a human being, and I would like to see more acceptance of humans being humans, and this idea that is, I feel like maybe it is more genderized, or different genders have different expectations of this like perfect whatever gender they are, like the perfect guy or the perfect girl. You know, that the classy thing or like whatever. I don't know. I feel like that's playing a lot into it. And I don't think it's jealousy. I think it's just, I don't know. I don't know. But I feel like go J-Lo. Freaking go. I don't know. I like her. I don't like her music as much. I mean, I like her music, but there's like a lot of music that she did that I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, you won't find me singing to it as much. Ironically, you'd find me more singing along to Taylor Swift than Jennifer Lopez. Dancing to Jennifer Lopez for sure. Taylor Swift doesn't really have dancing music. But yeah, like, I don't know. So I don't know who said this, but someone was saying that there's like sensual or whatever. Her choreography was too sensual, or like that's the whole point. Um, and let me show. I have. Oh, sorry. I had it. I have to like put it on the right ads. Oh no. One day I'll have no more ads. It's hyperbolic. People panning about the word narcissistic without substance. It's super ridiculous. Yeah, yeah. I don't think I don't think Jennifer Lopez is narcissistic. To be narcissistic, you cannot be vulnerable. I don't think. I'm not a professional, so, take that with a big bowl of salt. But based on the little that I do know, or the medium that I know about narcissism, you cannot be vulnerable. And I feel like Jennifer Lopez is very vulnerable. Um, I think in her case, what people call narcissistic, or specifically Andy, honestly, I've heard him, pretty much only him, calling her narcissistic, is, um, I mean, I don't know, but her being a boss and being a woman who is, um, has high expectations, has high quality expectations, who has a high work ethic and expects that from people around her, who has a very specific vision. And because she is, I think, a very creative person, she has a specific vision and she wants that executed. Beyonce and Taylor Swift are also like that. And Beyonce has also been called that. Not narcissistic, but like diva or other words. Taylor Swift, not that much. I feel like that's, with a reason. And yeah, but I think that when I hear the context of when Jennifer Lopez is called a narcissist, it's around vulnerability, which is kind of the opposite. It's around um, capitalizing on her story, um, using her love story for whatever. But it's like, when did we go from understanding that artists, especially musical artists, not so much like filmmakers, but like musical artists, their life is their craft? Songwriting is about writing from your experience and from your vulnerability and introspection. And with Taylor Swift, and Jennifer Lopez was so excited because she wrote so much of this album, and she was so excited about this album. And I think it was really thoughtful. And like, as far as the movie, the one scene with her meeting her inner child, basically that scene, like, I think I cried. Like, it was not frivolous. It was, but it's like she can't get away from being seen like this vapid person, which I don't think she's ever been vapid. I don't think she's ever been without substance. She has so much heart in what she does. So I don't understand. I don't understand. Anyways, this is the part that the dance that oops, hold on. Let me, it's from Bucharest. Um I'm not gonna play the music, obviously, but this is the part that Andy was playing, and apparently this is embarrassing her family. If you look, this is a freaking performance. This is like a performance, and one of the things that probably was the worst part. The worst part. Um, I think it was Katy Perry that did so much worse a few months ago at some award show. Was it Katy Perry or Beyonce? No, it wasn't Beyonce. It was Katy Perry. Yeah, because Katy Perry has been on some interesting stuff. Um, so yeah, I do find that what's interesting about this part is that I believe the music behind it it sounds a lot like Midnight Trip to Vegas, 90 Day Fiance reference. Um, and then she goes into I'm Into You, which is a very different soundscape to me. So I thought that was like interesting. But yeah, I do think that Ben Affleck was the love of her life. If you see like the past interviews when they were together the first time, she was so freaking in love with him. And she was this time around too, for whatever reasons they didn't work out. It was both of them, it was him, it was her. It's sad. I think, again, what strength for someone to go through that where the whole world is criticizing her, that she was the bad egg in the relationship, that it was because of her. Like, how could Ben stand her? How could he, like, stand as much as he did with her? Like, look at her. She's so, like, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And again, this is mainly, like, Andy's, like, rhetoric. But yeah, so I think, I don't know. I think that. As far as like this like more sensual, we'll call it, and that's like a reference to, I was watching the Daily Show about the Sweeney Todd. I'm not doing it on purpose. I literally, before saying that, I was like, say it right this time, Marina, say it right, and it came out wrong. Sydney Sweeney. This has become like a drinking game. Sydney Sweeney's stuff on the Daily Show, and there was this one reporter calling like the ad sensual, and I thought he was the most respectful guy of all of them, and the least gross. I didn't think he was gross at all. I think he was like super, but whatever her name is, she kept like making fun of him and stuff, and I thought this is a little too much. Like, I don't think that guy did anything wrong. However, there were many old white men that were really gross about it on that. But as far as like, yeah, the sensualness of this part of, Jennifer Lopez's concert, or yeah, concert, or set, she's spoken about how doing Hustlers and becoming Ramona, how that influenced her fitness, her body image, her like she started wanting to be more strong than like lean or whatever. She really embraced that and embraced what, like, how the physicality of what those women do. And she's spoken so positively about the positive impact of that role and how empowering it was for her and how she sees it as empowering. um and I think she's just incorporating, like, she probably incorporates so much of what she's done and learned into her set, and that's one of them. And I feel like it's fine. There's nothing like overly sexual about what she's doing. I even said, like, it's not even freaking close to like Madonna level stuff. Like, what are we even like talking about? For Andy to say that her family is embarrassed and Ben refuses to entertain childish antics. What antics? What is she doing to him? She's not doing anything to him. She's just performing her freaking shows. What? What? I don't know. And it's interesting, like Taylor Swift, Ben kind of has asked not to be roped into this whole narrative, and people do not let him not be a part of it. Um, but yeah. Um, I tune him out because he screams too much. Yeah, he does. He does. He's good in small doses and for like very specific videos. But yeah, if I watch him too much, I mean, that's when I started reading my own stuff or something around the Blake Lively thing, because I was like, I even said that, but he was the inspiration. Like, he was too amped up. And I was like, my nervous system cannot take that. I'm going to go at my pace. This is too much. But yeah, sometimes he has like some good comments and information. But yeah. Um, yeah, Ben being brought over. I said people just get over it. Like, there's nothing crazy. She did that one like private show or whatever, private screening or whatever of some of her songs. Like, I understand that maybe like, oh, was that a dig at Ben or whatever, but I did not see anything like that in what Andy reported, or like the show that I saw of her concert. And I said, why is it that you break up from a guy and suddenly a pretty standard performance or a performance tactic becomes a show of desperation? I feel like I want to say that again a little bit more fluently. Why is it not every time, why is it that, her at least, you break up from a guy and suddenly a pretty standard performance tactic, being like super central on the stage, etc., becomes a show of desperation? If she was doing this while she was still married to him and they were like happily ever after, this wouldn't be a desperation, would it? Maybe. With her, I feel like people just love to hate her, and I don't think it's fair at all. Like, again, I can understand much more about Meghan Markle than her. Like, I really don't think Jennifer Lopez should be hated. She's pretty awesome. And I'm not saying she's perfect. I'm just saying she's pretty awesome. There's this birthday song that she does a bit later in the show. I think later, yeah. So this is like the whole segment is more like of a central segment. Like a lot of different concerts have these different before even Taylor Swift did her era thing, but like these different sets. So I did hear this song on Spotify, and it's not really my style. It's a little too much for me, but some of the lyrics are: name on top of the cake, it's my birthday. I'm gonna make this famous butt shake, it's my birthday. Throwing all this money in their face, it's my birthday. Every day is my birthday. You ain't never seen nobody do it like this. You ain't getting in tonight. You ain't on the list. This is so weird. I was not prepared to read this. Everything I want, I got. I ain't got a wish. Every day is my birthday. Okay. How is this hurting anyone is my kind of point. Um I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like people are being way too much with this. Like, this does seem like a breakup type of song. Um Cambia El Paso was kind of like that too. It was a softer version of this, I guess. And whatever. I don't know. I don't know. Anyways. Yeah. So, um oh, yeah, people also um commented on her voice, and I said Taylor Swift, she did not have a good voice at all when she started. She worked very hard on that voice right now. And she even, like, she knew that she had a very weak voice. She had to strengthen it, and she doesn't have a great voice, and it's okay. And she knows her strength is songwriting, and she built her voice with Jennifer Lopez. Her strength is performing and dancing, and but she has equally a good of a voice to be on there, and to be on stage and do this and whatever. Um, and she has cool songs. Like, I want to listen to her, And so this was, I don't know how much I can play, but we'll try, of her voice. And I refuse to let you play me for a fool. Yeah. Sorry. I'm just like a little paranoid. Like, how much will they, get to? Sorry. See, that's what you told me. That's what you said. Now I want to dance. That was a little rougher. But yeah, I don't know. And she did something before that was like even better. She has a fine voice. A lot of this show, I will say that you could tell that it was not live, but these parts were.
que me ha dado tanto, me ha dado el sonido y el abecedario.
I've been just all over the place because I forgot to do this, but I got in contact with a musician, and he had said, like, your voice, I can tell your voice is weaker in certain parts when you're not singing for your voice. But you can build towards that, or whatever. But it made me think too, like, you have to sing for your voice. I think like a song like that is more on her voice and brings out the best of her voice. But I don't know, potato. um People just need to look a little bit inside themselves about when it comes to J-Lo. That's all. Yeah. Sydney Sweeney, because I almost said the wrong thing, even though I'm reading it. I'll start with this part of it. I feel like she could care less about what's happening, because I see people commenting. Sorry, I see people commenting on her Instagram posts like, "Oh, girl, don't let them get you down, blah blah blah." I'm like, I don't think she cares, because a year ago, or a little less than a year ago, she did kind of the same thing. And when you look at her Instagram, I don't think she cares. I don't think she cares. I think she knows very well that it is, regardless of the controversy, it is going to be controversial, that she, all her posts are somehow showing her boobs and all this stuff. And I think she's just doing her thing. I don't know. But anyways, this is this other ad that she did. That's very much like it.
Are you interested in my body? Wash? Well, you can't have it. Because this isn't for boys, it's for men. This is Dr. Squatch Natural Body Wash. With long-lasting natural aromas like wood barrel bourbon.
I mean, this is like the same ad, basically, as the Gucci, whatever. You know what I mean. Just ads like that.
Sydney Sweeney, Hasbro Jeans.
Not this one, but what did that comment say? 1950s? No. This entire campaign is based on the 1980 Calvin Klein ad that caused an uproar for sexualizing a minor, and used the same eugenics coded rhetoric back then too. So American Eagle deliberately took inspiration from an ad that borderlined on, all right, this person's like really, I think this is I'll talk about her. All right. Do they have the other ad? Man, they like really just posted a lot. I don't think I saw this.
I bet you want to try these jeans.
Sydney Sweeney, Hasbro Jeans.
I'm not into this stuff.
Sydney Sweeney, Hasbro Jeans.
That is a cute dog. That is a really cute dog. Anyways, so cute. Aw. Yeah, she's 27. I sound like an old person right now, but she's 27. And I don't know. I'll get to it anyways. Already mentioned she's blonde. All right, so let's get into the Daily Show. Or Andy, I don't know. Oh my gosh. So, I can't really show anything from the Daily Show because they are not friendly with showing their stuff. So I'm going to try to do this, as best as I can. I wonder if that's like enough.
Often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My jeans are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has very keen.
So that's like the big one. The main one that people are talking about that, has like eugenics, white supremacy reference type stuff, dog whistling, whatever. I'm not saying that it doesn't. I'm not saying that it does. I don't think it's like dog whistling. I think I don't know, maybe, but I would rather think, but I like am more on the side that they didn't think this through, and that is not something that they thought about. Um, I think maybe I don't know, like, yeah, it is kind of weird when she references like hair and blue eyes and whatever, um, or yeah. But the commentaries go from that to body image through to like the sexualizing of minors, like, and she's not a minor, but like referencing the Brooke Shields campaign and all this stuff. And I think that's the interesting part is that everyone has a different problem with it. And so it was like really weird for me to like even kind of wrap my mind of what is wrong with this ad. What are people talking about? Um, you bought a few because of this ad. Um, cool. I don't know. I don't have any opinion on that. I'm good. I don't feel like that's bad or good. Hi Kenergy, welcome. Um, but okay. First, I'll just go through my notes in order because I have a lot of notes. First of all, I thought I don't get it. I don't understand why there's so much uproar. Um, and I said also, like, first of all, as far as like her being perfect, she's not perfect. Her eyes are always sleepy. And she's human. She's a human being. She's not perfect. People have talked about how, like, oh, she's not even filling up those jeans. But those jeans are also, like, I don't know, 5 sizes too big on her. And all this stuff. I don't know. So that was my first impression. I didn't get it. I also, this is my first and middle and last impression. This is an impression throughout. What does left wing, right wing have to do with it? This is not political. I feel like that, talk about smear campaign. I was just watching something about like bot farms and how, like, you know, the the idea was like these are the things that you're fighting with on the internet. You're not fighting with real human beings. And I don't know that it's like bot-ish, but it's one way or another this whole idea that, oh, this is the left wing, the left woke left, whatever, having a problem doing this to us and blah blah blah, they can't take a joke. And no, this is the right wing, and their white supremacy messaging and blah blah blah. It's like that's where I feel like we have problems as a society. If that's like the kind of conversation we're having, it should be a human thing. And I am really personally over this like left and right and othering each other. There is no other we're all human and we're all getting affected, whether, in the same way or a different way. So let's stop that. Uh, yes, we are talking about this ad. You think it's complete trash and it is 100% political propaganda. I'm kind of curious. Please say more as I'm going to read through my other thoughts. Angel, you don't see anything wrong. Um, I don't. I personally don't think this is political. I don't think this is political. I think it is meant to be controversial. I think it is meant to do what it actually did. Everyone's talking about it. But kind of like I was saying, as far as like the Gwyneth Paltrow ad, whether people will buy it, like you, Maria, whether people buy the stuff or don't buy the stuff, people are talking about it. It is at the top of the trends. The top, like if I heard about it, like people have heard about it. Um, yes, I just read a comment that said that it was copied from the Brooke Shields problematic campaign. But why do you think it's political propaganda? Um, and yeah, so I think it is 100% about controversy for them to get their name. I mean, everyone's talking about it. Everyone knows about American Eagle, who I feel like was struggling because American Eagle was popular back in the day, and then like Abercrombie and Aeropostale and all these, they just kind of like started kind of, atrophying. So yeah, good for them as far as that. As far as marketing, great job. People are talking about you. My ultimate thoughts are kind of like in both directions. So yeah, I don't have like a summary of my thoughts. Is it a racist dog whistle? I will say that I think it's ignorant. I don't think it's a dog whistle moment. I think it's ignorant. I think when people are defending this ad, what they're saying and how American Eagle would probably defend this ad, or I imagine was going on in the board or whenever they were creating this ad, it's more about ignorance. It's about making America great again. It's about why do blonde people and good looking people, why can't they have, rights? um, like, I'm laughing because it's so ridiculous because, like, blonde people have always been popular. But anyways, so it's kind of that ignorance, that sort of which, you can say that's racist, but I don't think it's like racist propaganda or like dog whistling. When I think of dog whistling, is like wanting certain action, like wanting people to be racist, wanting people to, um, chase non-white, blue-eyed, blonde people away. And so in that sense, I don't think it's that. But I do hear that nuance in it, that it is very ignorant and not a good look as far as like ethics and morals. So that's why I'm like on both sides of it. I can not just see both sides, but I think both sides have a good point. I don't think it's like that extreme that it's like, gosh, whoever, like on Pierce Morgan, I think people started talking about Nazism and stuff, which I don't think that's even a word. But I think fascism is. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong in that. Maybe it's just like particularly the way that was handled in the 40s. But yeah, I don't think it's that, but I do think it's not ethical. I do think that. So yeah, anyways, Megan Kelly says that it's sick to not celebrate someone who is not blonde and blue-eyed. Sorry. Um I think she was saying sick and tired that, we can't celebrate someone who's blonde and blue-eyed and good looking. Like, what's wrong with celebrating that? poor blonde people, poor blonde women. They've had such a hard time in this country and in this country, because the rest of the world has had different standards, beauty standards. Let me fast forward to the Megyn Kelly part, because that was fun. And I need to be careful because of all the crappity crap. Yeah.
We have an actual woman with amazing breasts and an obviously kick-ass body who is in a dress or in her jeans, whatever, and it's wonderful.
Fast forward to also Megyn Kelly.
I object to like J-Lo and Shakira showing their badge at the Super Bowl. She dresses like a prostitute. She looked like a hooker. Look at this. Her enormous breasts and a bathing suit was her chosen outfit. She hasn't come to grips with the fact that she's not a sex symbol anymore. You seem to be a desperate hoe wanting strangers to admire your vagina.
Yep. That happened. So I had to, I hope, I do get to keep that in for the after, this goes posted. But like, okay, Megyn Kelly. All right. Okay. And first of all, I think Jennifer Lopez is very much a sex symbol still. But that was my previous topic. Yeah, so is it too sensual? Uh yeah. I mean, that specific ad, I feel like it is absolutely. Um yeah. That is, again, all that Sweeney Todd Sydney Sweeney whatever is about, though. Like her own Instagram, everything is about that. Not my cup of tea. I think there is a very huge, I like Jennifer Lopez sensuality, cool, great, empowering. Sweeney Todd Sydney Sweeney's um sexuality, I feel like it's too much, but it's also like a young too much. Young people love that stuff. I don't know, they're like, yay, let objectify me. So like, whatever. But again, that's not my cup of tea. The one comment that I will say is kind of like really stupid is that, I think Megyn Kelly was actually saying this comment. Let's see. I think it was her, because it was just like plain old just dumb.
Sydney Sweeney, the new toast of the town out there because she's got these enormous breasts that everybody's obsessed with.
No, it wasn't that. Oh gosh. Something about, maybe it was like on another one. Something about like, if this brings, heterosexual men to American Eagle to buy, like, good for them or something. And I'm like, how is this supposed to sell to men? Because that's the thing. Women, I feel like you'll get like a 50-50 or like whatever percentage of women that will be offended by this ad, of women who will not be offended by this ad and say, oh, wow, yeah, let me get that for my boyfriend, for my husband, for my girlfriend, for my wife, for whoever, because of the sexualized nature, blah, blah, blah. And people are like, ew, no, I don't want to be associated with this. Like, this is degrading. This is taking, women back, whatever. You'll get a bunch of different opinions on that. But that's women. For men, I feel like less men will be like, ooh, this is not ethical. This is too degrading for women. They won't care. But also, they're not the audience. They're not the target audience. And this ad, it is a lot more geared towards heterosexual men. So I don't understand as far as that side of marketing, like what you're, if, the person that said that comment, and I think it's later on in Piers Morgan's segment, I don't understand that comment. That makes zero sense. Anyways, but yeah. Apparently liberals hate hot people. And this is the other thing that there's this like confusion. Again, this is why I don't I think this like whole like politicizing this is just by itself unethical, immoral, and wrong because it's not about politics. And once you like start, othering and like, oh, they're liberals, like they just want to oppress good looking people, or like the, whatever's want to oppress not good looking people. First of all, that in itself, you're labeling people as good looking or not good looking. Um, the other part is that she herself has said she's a size 23. That is not an average size, and that is not necessarily a healthy size for many people. To go the in I'm getting ahead of myself, but in on Pierce Morgan, she this one person was saying that, compare, I think maybe Pierce himself compared Lizzo to her. I'm like, why are we here comparing like two extreme opposites? Lizzo is also not average size, neither is Sweeney Todd. So like, if you're going to compare, like a normal size for either side of the political spectrum, because apparently we have to make women's sizes political, um you might as well just go with the average size, which is like in between the two of them. And yeah, yeah, anyways, sorry, I get ahead of myself. And I'll come to the chat in a second. Let me just see everything here. Yeah. And gosh, what's her name on the Daily Show? I forget her name. Shoot. Desi, right? Lyduk. Gosh, I've heard her name so many times, but then I read it, I'm like, oh, I never saw how her name was spelled, so crap, I pronounce that. But yeah, she basically summarizes Megyn Kelly by saying, hide your sexuality unless it makes liberals mad. And I feel like that is spot on as far as Megyn Kelly, because that is exactly what happened. That is like 1000% hypocritical. Like, either you appreciate women having big breasts and sensuality, sexuality, whatever, or you don't. And I do think her like picking on Shakira, Jennifer Lopez, they're not the white American, even though they're both white, but and who the else did she talk about? I don't know. J-Lo came up a couple of times. Um, interesting. Interesting. I feel like, with Megyn Kelly, not so much Candace Owens, I've not seen them that much. I think Candace is just really like, she has her thoughts and she goes with them. I think with Megyn Kelly, what I've observed is that she goes with the wind. She just says stuff that it just changes with the wind, basically. So I don't know. All right, let me get to the chat before continuing on with Popcorn Planet version and some articles. Um, when you're a multi-million dollar company that has their marketing campaign, they are completely aware of public perception. It's not ignorant, it's doing exactly what it's intended to do. I didn't say that they weren't thoughtful about it being a controversy. I'm just saying that it's ignorance as far as it's not like calling people to be racist or to be um you know fascism, white supremacy, all that stuff. That's my personal opinion, that I don't think that's what they're calling people to do. um and that's what I meant by ignorant, not that they didn't know what they're doing. Ignorant. Do say someone with blonde hair, white, blue eyes has good genes. Of course, it's perpetuating a certain standard. It's not ignorant, it's an active choice. To Megyn Kelly, I say blonde people have always been the beauty standard. Yeah, yeah, in the US. Sydney Sweeney sold her bathwater in a soap form, sold it, and it sold out in minutes, mostly purchased by men. Yeah. Political is personal. Political is personal. I can't wrap my brain around that right now. Maria, that's her image. Yeah. Yeah. Her image is 100% just over hypersexualized stuff. And it's also, I mean, I have a sister that's younger, and I felt more like her mom because it hurt seeing how she hypersexualizes herself at like before 18 even, but even at 18 and later. And I try to relate as far as like, oh, when I was younger. And yeah, when you're young, you have more of a boldness. You also have, um, you're more susceptible to want to look or appear a certain way that not just the other gender or the gender that you're interested in perceives you, but also just like society. You're more likely to internalize messaging. And that's what Anastasia, whatever she was saying so eloquently. And then Pierce Morgan just completely disgustingly disrespected her, but she said it so perfectly, and I'll get to that. Um, and that now I forget what I was saying. Um, yeah, it's like the internalizing of the messaging of what you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be sexual. You're supposed to be talking like you have some sort of problems. Like vocal fry and stuff. You're supposed to um show like boobs and stuff. Like you're supposed to be appealing to men and all these things. And so the same thing for men, too. Um and so yeah, I mean she's doing that. That's why I started this whole excuse me. This whole segment with she's 27. Like it really hurt, and it really hurts. I can't watch my sister's TikTok and Instagram because it is so sexualized, and I don't think that's right. And I had started saying like, yeah, I had my way of doing that too, as far as like coming from Europe and my mom being a young mom and also European and all that stuff. Um, the wear tight clothes and all that stuff was kind of standard. And but it's different when you do it when you're younger, when you don't really understand what it does. And some 20-year-old women are women and not girls. I was a girl. I didn't really understand. It was just kind of like, "Ooh, that looks good," or "Oh, that's what you do," or you kind of just like try things out. Um, yeah, my sister goes definitely far beyond that. Yeah. So yeah, it hurts. It just hurts. It hurts. And so I get that as far as like that the sexualizing part of it. Like I get why people are upset about that as far as the influence that it has on young girls, under 30 and so forth, or like even over 30, people that have low self-esteem that feel like, why am I not liked? Why don't I have a boyfriend? Why don't I have friends? Why don't I have, or like, money or whatever, why am I not liked in general? Or enough, and not liking their body, and they see something like this. um and yeah, as far as like um yeah, the eugenics and things, the good genes, like, I mean, used that phrase. This is the thing. Sometimes I feel like Americans, not that it's wrong to talk about it from the perspective in America, but sometimes, as someone who has a broader perspective, it annoys me when the conversations seem to be very like Uh, in Romanian, we call it Buricul Pământului, the belly button of the universe. Basically, like the world revolves around you type of syndrome, where Americans think that just universally phrases mean something universally, and it doesn't. Obviously, this is an ad that will play around the world, but particularly in the US, and it's an American company. And so, there is a lot more weight on what this messaging means through the American perspective and lens. Um, I feel like it's been frustrating all the time for me to like hear certain things and certain perspectives and just take it as like, fact. Um, because someone was saying that this whole thing with good genes it was kind of like that stupid guy said that um what is the term, ethnic cleansing came from a Romanian saying or something, and it wasn't even Romanian, and it didn't come from what he was saying. So the Balkan Wars or whatever. So yeah, it's kind of like that. Like I've said that my whole life as far as why I look as young as I do, and my mom looks as young as she does, and we don't look our age. We look like 10 years younger generally. I always said it's the genes. It's good genes. So, um but they said some certain words. They captioned it with like hair. What did she say? The hair and the eyes and whatever. Um, Let me play that again.
Color passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality.
Hair color, personality, eye color. Personality is not a trait, but okay. Anyways, not a gene trait. Potato pet. I don't know. I'm a nurture, not a nature person. But yeah, hair color, eye color, whatever.
Even eye color. My jeans are blue.
Yeah, I don't know. They just gave another one of her ads on my TV. Yeah, yeah, they have a few of these, and this one is really the only one. The other ones are not this, and I think the problem is like the list of like hair, eye color, all that stuff, hair color, eye color. Um, she basically stopped short of skin color. So I get that part. I do get that part, and I do think that's not ethical. Again, I don't understand. I still don't understand what you mean, Kennedy. If you're still here, you might not be. um, because yeah, I don't know what you mean by political is personal. Um, I don't think I agree as far as my understanding of that. I think politics are man-made. I think it's a concept. I think um you make politics personal, not the other way around. But maybe I'm not understanding that right either. Um yeah, I don't subscribe to a political party or a political ideology. I subscribe to a humanity ideology. And so I don't care what political party you are. It depends on what you're saying and what you're doing. And I said this on Monday too. Like, I don't care. I don't care if, whatever is Republican or Democrat or independent or an alien. I don't care. Um, and so that's why I don't feel like political is personal. I think people make it personal. So I agree with that. And that's what I was saying as far as this. I think um, people are trying to. I think I wonder if one reason people make this political and say, keywords like the left woke left, whatever, and the whatever right. I wonder if people are saying that because we have a more and more limited vocabulary. It was an interesting thing watching, and very like triggering thing watching the Pierce Morgan show. on this because there was this one, it was one guy and like three women and peers. And the guy was just so exasperated and really triggered, really triggered. And he kept being cut off. So it was rightly so triggered. But at the same time, I feel like we're that, you know, and we're like struggling. We rush to say something and we take shortcuts in saying things, so we just want to use these buzzwords and things like that. I think that's one reason, like high anxiety and a lack of security, a lack of self-confidence. And so we just like throw as much as we can and big buzzwords that we know will hit and stuff like that. B, I think it's also by design and to some degree that it is kind of this system that wants to have us other each other, you know? Like it's the left, they're others. They're not our tribe. So they're against us. They are our enemy. That is like psychology 101, like psychological biology, you know, neuroscience 101. um there is something in us that, like, if we don't understand the other person, if we see the other person as an other, meaning like pertaining to another tribe, another species, another something, then we will have our guard up. We can't relate, we can connect, and we fight against one another to protect our territory, to keep us safe, because we perceive it as a threat, you know, that they are different. So I think those two things could be happening as far as that. So that's why I don't really um, agree or prescribe to that idea, that political is personal in the way that I'm understanding it. Okay, so moving on to Andy. Did he say something that? Oh, he said some. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Girls on Monday
Oh my gosh. Ads.
It's about, oh, it's terrifying, but her real take was more interesting.
In the ad, they do a close-up ass shot, and she's not filling out the jeans.
No, she's not. She's not filling out the jeans.
She doesn't have that good of jeans. These jeans
Both
are doing
meetings.
nothing for her ass. Gene or Jean. Either one. So I beg to differ for the whole thing.
I think that's like the best take on this. You know, as far as like funny. Yeah, I kind of noticed that maybe right after. At first, you know, when she's laying down, you don't even see her butt. But yeah. That's why I'm like, why is she like a bombshell? I think just because there's other girl that looks very much like her. It's so interesting how like every time there's like a wave of like certain patterns of how people look, you know, like Timothée Chalamet and that other guy that's with Zendaya, they both kind of look the same. Michael Fassbender and this other guy, I forget his name, like they all look the same. Sydney Sweeney. I almost called her Sydney Todd now. Sydney Sweeney and this girl, the girl from the movie with Demi Moore. Oh God, I don't even know the movie name. The horror one about body image and stuff. They both look the same. They have, you know, the blue eyes and the over sexualized look and stuff. And I like saw her, that girl, because in that movie she definitely, yeah, she looked hot, she looked like really sexy and perfect and all this stuff. And then you look at her on just like day carpets or whatever, daily life, and she's average, you know? And the same thing with Sydney. I think she's like a human being. She's not perfect. She's not ugly, she's not pretty, she's what we consider now to be sexy. And in like 10, 15, 25 years, we'll consider something else to be sexy. But I also think it's like the way that it's marketed and how like these people have so much that go into how they look. So much time to spend on how they look and money to spend on how they look. And um but yeah, I think those two things are like causing this. But yeah, as far as like her body, I don't think it's the sexiest body, but I can see that she, pushes up her boobs and sticks her butt out and, has these like poses that make her look sexy. But like, yeah, she's tiny. She's skinny. Like, anyways, but yeah, I do find, I think they did go with, maybe they thought like, oh, we won't give her like skin tight jeans because I think that's also not in style now. So, like, will not be that bad, whatever. I don't know if they were thinking that way. But yeah, that I found that funny that she's not even filling out the jeans. Okay, so one of these what time is it? Okay. One of these campaigns, oh my gosh, I was like reading one of these articles are talking about, which I'm not even sure if I want to, because it's on Daily Mail, so all those ads, I might just have to read from it. Okay, let's read this one. So the campaign was met with an explosion of frenzied controversy. However, insiders with direct knowledge have now said that about 70% of respondents to independent polling had a positive reaction to the promo. I just paused because who did you poll? This is yet another example of how social media is just not reflective of real life. That's bold. I don't agree with that at all. That's what? The absurd response from some corners of the internet is absolutely not reflective of how American Eagle's customers feel. Well, that I bet, because American Eagle's customers usually are like teens and young 20-year-olds. So, yeah, I can understand that they probably don't even think about this stuff. Like, have that critical eye. I also will say, again, getting ahead of myself, and I don't have it right now on hand, so it's from memory. But one person from the Pierce Morgan segment said that just because a certain group of people doesn't see something doesn't mean that it's not there. So, just because, and he was like, I think it was the guy, and he was talking to this one lady who mentioned something about the Jews, and he's like, you should know, speaking of that, you should also know that there are things that Jews are perceptive to that the non-Jew population of the world don't notice because they're not affected. They don't, know that stuff. So just because you don't feel like it is racist or whatever doesn't mean that it's not. So, and I think when you're young, you are more of an activist, but I think you have like less of an eye necessarily, because you still have to learn so much unless you're like super into history and politics and all that stuff. So I don't know about this. And I think to say that social media is not reflective of real life, I think that's like, I don't know who thought that was a good idea to say. That is BS. Literally, social media is reflective of real life. That's why you have all the different types of comments and ideas and problems with this and defenses of this ad and all in between. The bottom line is that this was about creating a great pair of jeans and supporting a very worthy cause. What? And supporting a very worthy cause through some of the proceeds going to domestic violence prevention. Do we have another Blake Lively? Not Sydney Sweeney, whatever, but like the American whatever. Also, sorry about that stupid ad. This is so annoying. Oh my gosh. How do I like zoom in to avoid all of these freaking stupid ads? There we go. Did they just say that? You know, like how Blake Lively was supporting domestic violence by talking about recently, I forget who said, Shirsty or someone was pointing out how when she was promoting, sorry, no, I was flabbergasted, guys, sorry. It was just like, I was speechless. I was like, I short circuited. How Blake Lively was promoting like her apartment interior design skills or whatever. That's how she promoted the movie about domestic violence. That's where in those ads, any of the ads, did it come up that proceeds go to domestic violence prevention? They again, just like the alcohol promoting of Blake Lively, promoting sexualized content where proceeds go to domestic violence prevention. Are we this is what I'm saying. This is ignorant. They are just stupid. And I wonder what the demographic of the decision makers was, because I feel it's white men at this point. This is the most stupid thing. I thought it couldn't get worse. I didn't read this before, so I'm like finding this out. That's why I'm like, I just like got flabbergasted. I was just like, what the? Did I just read that, or am I about to read that? Oh my gosh. Anything beyond that is noise that is not registering with the average person. I changed my mind. I changed my mind as far as like this is a mess. Regardless of how people feel about the ad, we hope they can agree we should be doing more to support and empower those who are experiencing domestic violence. I don't know. I'm having a very hard time to not like blow up right now. I'm having a very easy time because I have a hard time blowing up, but like I'm short circuiting because my inside is like outraged as at like what I'm reading right now. I I cannot find the words to to express how this is Blake Lively promoting It Ends With Us 2.0, where the people that are in charge of this ad campaign, they might not know about eugenics and whatever, they might, but they for sure know about the lawsuit around It Ends With Us and the public backlash that Blake Lively received. So for her promoting a domestic violence or domestic abuse, whatever movie, and they seem to be like, huh? What? I don't know. Let's just do the same thing. I mean, could just add some alcohol to this and just, why not burn it all down? Like, what the heck? I mean, literally, I feel like that's worse than alcohol, honestly. I feel like these ads now are worse than what Blake Lively did with the alcohol brand. Much worse. The campaign includes an advert that sees the camera pan down Sweeney's chest. Yeah, that too. As she models a plunging denim jumpsuit, She muses, "My body's composition is determined by my genes," before exclaiming, "Hey, eyes up here," as the camera cuts back to her face. The advert has divided fans, however, with one critic calling the clip one of the loudest and most obvious radicalized dog whistles we've been and heard in a while. I don't even after reading their representative what the representative said, I really don't think it was a dog whistle. Um yeah, I think it was just like desperation and ignorance. The phrase great genes is historically used to celebrate whiteness, thinness, and attractiveness um, in the US, which it said made this campaign seem to be tone deaf marketing move. Talking to or taking to social media, many expressed shock at messaging which they compared to Nazi propaganda. I do think that is I think that is too much. Um, I think that it's not. I do my belief, my personal opinion and belief. I don't think that's what they were going for. I don't think that was at all what was happening. Um, Racism, sure, it's not the same thing. It's close. They're very close, but not the same thing. Not better, not good. I feel like I have to spell it out all the time. Everything that I think. One person said the promotion is what happens when you have no people of color in a room, particularly in a time like this. I don't feel like they even had any like women or anything or young people. I don't think they even had young people. Because, I don't I just can't get past I just can't get past that whole. Let me read that again. Now that I zoomed in, I just can't get past this. The bottom line is that this was about creating a great pair of jeans and supporting a very worthy cause through some of the proceeds doing. Oh my gosh, hold on. The bottom line is that this was about creating a great pair of jeans and supporting a very worthy cause, about some of the proceeds going to domestic violence prevention. Anything beyond that is noise that is not registering with the average person. Regardless of how people feel about the ad, we hope they can agree we should be doing more to support and empower those who are experiencing domestic violence. I kind of want to just like throw them a little middle finger because I feel like that's despicable. This ad, I love also how 71% of respondents to an independent poll had a positive reaction, where earlier it was 70%. All right. This ad campaign got so caught up in this clever play on words and this stunt the people in the room missed what was so blatantly obvious to anyone not white. I'd expect this from Abercrombie, but not y'all. Okay. User or another user wrote of the promotion featuring the surging star, "This is such an effed up campaign," while another called it weird as heck. Others vented about the message they felt the campaign inherently sent, as one said they were never shopping at a American Eagle again, while another asked the fashion house, "What are you doing?" I don't think American Eagle was ever not white. I don't remember. Like in my day, what I associated American Eagle with was like Midwest white people. It had that kind of like almost like country style, stuff when I was like growing up. Um So, yeah. Another Instagram user speculated this has to be rage bait, while another suggested the clothing retailer read the room in reference to the current campaign. Another user asked who on your marketing team said this was a good idea. Yet many were quick to defend Sydney, branding the backlash unhinged. I don't. She didn't make this campaign, unless she did. I don't think so. Um, so I don't think she really needs support or backlash. They shared on X Twitter, I'm not sure how to say this nicely, but if you think a jeans ad with a pun about Sydney Sweeney being pretty is a Nazi dog whistle, you generally need to put the phone down for a while. I don't think it's the phone's fault, but yeah, I do think that's taking it too far. The claim that Sydney Sweeney's American Eagle ad is a pro eugenics because of a good genes pun is genuinely unhinged. I don't think it's unhinged. I don't know that I fully like agree that's what they were going for. That's what they knew. And that's where like that Anastasia person came in with saying, it's not about the people's intent as much as the perception that is generated because of what they did. And it's kind of like what people were expecting from Blake Lively. Like, okay, you had a bad day, say sorry, and then we'll move on. You don't have like to get too many um past goes sort of thing, but like one or two here, like, okay, you didn't know better or you messed up, okay, cool, but say sorry and own up to it. um and then, cool, whatever. um but like, yeah, I don't think it's like I don't know. It's a denim campaign, not a manifesto. Not every blonde with blue eyes is that. Some of you need a history book and a nap. Um, Sometimes I kind of get tired of how people argue. Um, Not very clever arguments. You guys don't have to like Sydney Sweeney. I really hate her name. And I say that obviously I don't hate her or her name per se. Like, I don't mean ill on her. I just hate it's hard to pronounce. It's freaking hard to pronounce. Or the way she promotes herself, but you think comparing those jean commercials to propaganda is a tad extreme? Yes, I personally agree. There is something so effortless about American Eagle. It's the perfect balance of being put together but still feeling like yourself. That's not what I think of when I think of American Eagle. Their commitment to creating pieces that make you feel confident and comfortable in your own skin is something that resonates with me. It's rare to find a brand that grows with you the way American Eagle has for generations. That's her saying. Um, I That's not what I think of when I think of American Eagle. But anyways, this other article brought up 1930s. Where is it? Yeah, right here. Angie said it as it's penning up her body and on her face and her features, she's literally talking about her family tree and the genetics that have been handed down to her blonde hair and her blue eyes and how great they are. I also wonder if they went with those instead of like, having a butt and having, breasts, because they're like, well, we can't say that on an ad. We're not allowed to say that, but we're allowed to say hair color and eye color. I wonder if that was a conversation topic too. The thing about like marketing and companies, I think people think they're smarter than they are. In my experience, what I notice is that they're so insular and I worked for a pretty big company and I feel like they lose touch as much as you notice big stars can lose touch with what it's like to be a real human being. There's so much in their own echo chamber of profits and costs um and just numbers and oops, sorry. And just their echo chamber, whatever, echo chamber that I really feel like it's very plausible they really didn't think this through, what the public picked up on or what the public is interpreting. I'll say that. And she said that praising Sydney Sweeney for her great genes in the context of her white blonde hair, blue eyes appearance makes for one of the loudest and most obvious radicalized dog whistles we've seen and heard in a while. Many people panned the tone of the ad. The other reason I don't think it's a dog whistle because it's not that, quiet. It's really obvious. It's really loud. It's not really like something that no one can think of. Many users panned the tone of the ad campaign on American Eagle's Instagram page as it's giving subtle 1930s Germany. Is it? Is it? Also, like, wouldn't it be 1940s? Late 30s, maybe? Another user echoed, close enough, welcome back to 1930s Germany. The war was 1942, right? It started in 1942 to 1945 or so. And I understand it, things led up to that, but like, I don't, I, I, I don't know. Anyways, either way, like, yeah, that part I do think it's a little too much. I don't personally agree with that. I think the reason that we're using those terms and saying that it echoes 1930s Germany, I think it's because of what is happening in politics and how we're seeing politics right now. I don't think it's something that would have been mentioned before. This is the reason I say, like, I think racism and Nazism, if that's what they call it, I think it's not the same thing. Um, but it's kind of merging because it is, it's on the same side of the coin. Um, and it's kind of merging. And Nazism was kind of born from racism. Um, at least, like, I think it was more than that. I think it's just a whole messed up thing. But it's like more in, you know, the last century or so, it was the more extreme version of it. Um, but yeah, man, like, I don't know. Oh, American Eagle released a statement. Sorry, I'm like trying to go through my notes. Sydney Sweeney, sorry. Sydney Sweeney has great genes, is and always was about the genes, her story. Will continue to celebrate how everyone wears their A genes with confidence their way. Great genes look good on everyone. Except American Eagle. They also had an ad where they wrote, it was a mural, not a mural, but like a poster sort of thing, and they wrote Sydney Sweeney or whatever has great genes, GENES. And so you can't really say that it was all like, this is not a good statement. This is, talk about like too soon, too fast, or too unprepared. This is a bad PR statement. They did not take the time to like really sit in what people are saying and address what people are saying. This is like old PR stuff. This is not what makes things better. Versus, how I viewed astronomers' response being thoughtful. They took their time, but they also like were fast enough to address it, and they also took measures behind the scenes. Whereas American Eagle is like, that's not what we meant. We meant this. You know, we don't care about what you think. That's like this sort of statement. I think it's so much worse. All right, moving on to Pierce Morgan. I literally have like Sydney part 1 and Sydney part 2. And again, I'll pull this up. She was blonde. She's always been blonde. I think people, and this comes up because on Pierce Morgan, someone said, like, look it up. She's not even blonde, not even naturally blonde, because she dyed her hair brown for like a movie or two or something. And because she has like darker roots because she's older. there's if you look at like hair dyes, her darker roots are also considered blonde. They're just darker blonde. Just like you have light brown and dark brown, you have light blonde and dark blonde. So, anyways. So, these are the people. I have to like make it smaller to include all of them here. Here we go. These are the people that are on this panel that Piers Morgan did. And do we even want to have him on there very much? This was like he was in his stupid version. You know, he in his stupid persona, in his like instigating persona, in his like I can't stand this man persona. Anyways, the title is Get a Life, Sydney Sweeney ad, White Supremacy or Ugly Girl Jealousy. Again, just calling her beautiful, sexy, pretty, whatever, and calling someone else ugly or insinuating that someone else is ugly, unsexy, unpretty. You're labeling for what reason? You don't need to label that. Anyways, at first, my first thought was I think people that are focusing on the hair color and eye color, because I was hearing more of that part of it, are missing the other part of her body type. There's no butt. There is a butt because she works out, but she's really skinny. Not very Mediterranean, not Hispanic, not from anywhere else besides like Europe-ish, like Northern Europe and European Americans and Asians. Yeah. So it is a pretty big amount of people of the world population, but there's a lot of people that have a curvy body, that have like even skinnier, like even healthy, because I do think that it's good to not be too skinny and it's good to not be overweight and obese. And I think I understand people like body positivity, but let's not go into the overweight, like unhealthy side of it or the underweight, unhealthy side of it. I don't think she's like unhealthy. I think she's healthy for a 27-year-old that she is. And I don't know. I don't know what she eats. I don't know what she does. So she doesn't seem like she's, underweight. But she's definitely not, a mature body that's like more average because most of our lives is, not that. But yeah, okay. So again, the keywords here. I feel like the dog whistling is happening more on social media and in the commentary than in the freaking ads. And again, like let's not forget that American Eagle spokesperson said that this ad was supposed to have proceeds go to domestic violence prevention. Nowhere in the ad was that mentioned before or after that I saw. And it's also very wrong. If we call Blake Lively for using alcohol for promoting a domestic abuse or domestic violence movie, we have to call American Eagle for using sexual connotations and messaging and stuff, images that are also tied to domestic violence. So let's not, not do one versus the other. So let me play what Anastasia, I don't know where she's from, and how she pronounces her name. I don't even remember how Pierce pronounced her name. And she's the only one I know the name of. The other people I have, like the guy, the next girl, the girl with the red tank top. So yeah. He mentions them fast, but I wish he would, like, it's not hard. Just put the freaking name for each person on the bottom there. Anyways.
Problem with this ad. I mean, I just saw Sydney Sweeney looking hot, selling jeans. What memo didn't I get?
I would love to live in a world where more people would have the privilege to look at this ad and simply see an ad for great jeans. But that's not the world that we live in. And we live in the world that is marked with a lot of cultural baggage. So when I saw this ad,
Sorry, I wasn't ready to speak. I love what she said. We live in a world that has a lot of cultural baggage. She speaks so beautifully and poignantly and just perfectly. She is not on any extreme. She's not saying anything crazy or controversial. He's going to try to make it that way, but she isn't.
As a marketer, somebody who works with agencies and brands on issues of culture and cultural relevance, I was frankly angered. And the reason for that is that the ad is racist and eugenics coded. And I have to be clear that when I say that, I don't mean to talk about the intent of the creators behind this ad, but rather the impact that it has on audiences, and particularly on younger audiences. And here we need to remember that the target audience of American Eagle is the most racially and ethnically diverse consumer group in the history of the United States.
That, I feel like I disagree. At first, I didn't know. I was confusing it with like, sorry, itchy. Something else, some other brand. Oh, Good American, Khloe Kardashian or whatever, that brand. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. But I don't think American Eagle was diverse. Again, when I think American Eagle, I think of white Midwest country folk. So, anyways, but maybe I don't know something. But I love, again, what she said, that it's not about the intent. It's about how the impact it has had on people and how it's been perceived. Because that's the point. And that's kind of why, saying, okay, this is a racist ad from the perspective of the interpretation of it, of the impact of it, of how it's been perceived, rather than what they initially meant. They might have not meant it that way. And people might not believe that someone in 2025 might not have the whereabouts to not mean it that way. But they might have not meant it that way, but it's still kind of, impacting so many people that way. So it's, I guess, more so maybe not calling it is racist, but more so making sure that's recognized that it is impacting people that way. I don't know. I love her. I love how she speaks.
And somebody who has spent a lot of time studying semiotics and the way that meaning is encoded in various forms of media and cultural artifacts, it becomes very clear to me that when we take apart this particular ad campaign, it marries certain concepts and certain words that carry cultural baggage for people. And if that wasn't enough, we can go back and look to the source material for this particular campaign, which is a Calvin Klein ad from 1980 that uses very explicitly the same kind of rhetoric of, and even more so rather dramatically, natural selection, survival of the fittest, selective mating, the superiority of dominant groups, etc. And from a perspective of media and cultural studies, when we look at this particular campaign, we can see how meaning travels from the source of inspiration to this particular narrative structure that we see in this ad. And so it is no surprise to me that it was picked up by audiences that reacted in the way that they did. And research shows, even though obviously Gen Z are in themselves a diverse group, they're also generally, on average, more progressive leaning and, of course, chronically online.
I want to say something. That lady in the red tank top is like everything that's wrong when you're like trying to talk openly, maturely, respectfully. And also my personal judgment, I'm being judgy right now, but I saw that she has a ring on her finger. She's engaged and or married. And my first thought was like, how can she be married? You'll hear more from her But knowing that, and also just her reactions here, I'm like, who would want to marry someone who's this like immoral and, you know, not really great? And then I have to think, oh yeah, there's all sorts of different people in this world. You know, my standards are not everyone's standards. I agree with what she just said, that first part. That's the way the world is now, but only that part. Okay, fair.
Crazy. You mean crazy, Anastasia? I mean, you don't have
Anastasia,
to
we
be.
haven't had you. We haven't had you on. We haven't had you on our censor before. I didn't really understand a word of what you just said.
Just watch what she says. She is like, I feel like the reason, I don't know if she's coming back, because I feel like the reason she's not on this show is because she's so equipped to not get triggered and to respond really well.
Are you this much fun at parties, or do you have a different persona
I would love
there?
it if you weren't disrespectful to me. It's a pleasure to join you today, and I look forward to exchanging opinions. I would love to clarify any points that you might have found confusing.
And he just moves on from that. So that was like the first part. And I said, lesson on addressing disrespect with security and power. Props to Anastasia. Yeah, it's the interpretation, not the intention necessarily. Again, I think she branded it as racist, and so when you're saying that it's about perception, I don't think that you can brand it and label it as something if it's about perception. But I think I don't know what the word is, because I'm not her. I'm not as eloquent. Yeah, this next girl, I'll just like skip ahead.
Imagine being able to build.
No, I will not imagine. I don't care about you. I will just can't. Thank you. Bye.
Group and their clientele is that agency. I don't know.
This is the Nazis reborn.
This girl. This girl. This is I feel like giving. I'm using that phrase now. She's giving what's her name? Well, really kind of Blake Lively, calling themselves feminist supporters, because to be feminist is not to support Blake Lively, but that's another story.
That is just crazy to me. And for people to have this reaction to this ad, when I first saw this ad, this is giving a Super Bowl, okay? This is shot very well. This is very creative for an ad agency.
No, it's not. No, it's not. This is not a Super Bowl ad. This is just an ad. Like, what kind of... I know, I noticed that there's people who are... just use, or companies that are just using influencers like cell phone ads, sort of. So I guess maybe that's why she's saying that this is like a really well, shot ad and whatever. It's not. It's just average. All right. Anyways.
I don't know where that information is coming from, that they're the most diverse group and their clientele is the most diverse in the entire world, the entire country. But if that were the case, then this would be a great ad to appeal to a new base. Heterosexual straight men. But if that most diverse group and their clientele is the most diverse in the entire world, the entire country. But if that were the case, then this would be a great ad to appeal to a new base. Heterosexual straight men who see a hot woman and they think, wow, that's great. I want to support this company. And for the record, Sydney...
Sorry, my finger slips on the pause button. If it were the case that the company is the most diverse in the country, this is a great opportunity to attract a new audience. An audience of heterosexual straight men that see a hot woman and go, oh, that's great. I want to support this company. Historically, that's been the case in general for ads and companies and whatever's. B, this is not an ad to sell men's jeans. I don't really feel like this person has a very strong point, is what I'm trying to say.
Sydney Sweeney is a brunette. She has brown hair. So everybody's saying she's an Aryan, blonde hair, blue eyes. It's not true. Look at her roots. Look at her eyebrows. It takes 5 seconds to do a Google search of Sydney Sweeney's natural hair color.
Let me pull that back up. This is sorry. This is her when she was young. This is Sydney when she was young. I don't think her parents dyed her hair blonde. She was blonde when she was young. All right? And if you look at her roots and at her where was that? And at her eyebrows, she's blonde. It's okay.
And while I have my own opinions about this ad, I don't really have the palate for sexual ads as a traditional conservative. I think if you have an issue with this and you're saying that this is a Nazi dog whistle, as a Jewish woman, when the Nazis created ads in their propaganda, it was not using hot women who are traditionally hot to try and attract people to become Nazis.
That is the most stupid argument against how this is not that. Okay, does not mean that they wouldn't be using that right now. But that's not the point. This is the point. This is the next thing that she says is it really triggered me.
Who's saying that the Jews are vermin, that we're trying to take over the world. To try and compare the two is outrageous because the left will call everything Nazism and say everybody's a Nazi except for the actual Nazis chanting from the river to the sea, Palestine shall be free.
I don't know if she is aware of what she's saying from one word to the other because she was just talking about how Sydney is not a natural blonde. She's not an Aryan, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, as that being a reason why this is not Nazism or whatever. And then basically called non-white, non-blue-eyed, not blonde people Nazis, the Palestinians. I think this is the tough part when you begin to have certain words a little too close to very specific definitions of them. You get in trouble because racism and, as we now call it, I guess, Nazism, I really don't think that's an actual word, but anyways, and there was another thing that was kind of like that, where like that is not only terrorism, that is not only applying it to a specific group of ethnicity. It is kind of funny when she mentions she's not, she can't be a Nazi because she's not, blonde. She has brunette roots or whatever. I mean, she didn't say that, but she kind of tried to say that. And yet, she does that. But besides that, being racist, it doesn't matter that much. And the genocide claims that are being said about Gaza and Israel and all that, that is not, that whole thing is just kind of crazy. Like, you are trying to starve a whole ethnicity, a whole culture of people, and you are playing the victim. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? The acts of this so-called Nazism was to eradicate a certain type of human, non-white, blonde, blue-eyed human, which I always found ironic because he was none of those. Or he was white, I guess, but the rest not. And so, yeah, like, if you're going to make that argument like smartly, which she didn't. But that infuriated me. I'm like, so you're blaming these people that have been oppressed, that have been like pushed further and further and further off their land. They've had their land occupied. that they were there, you know, and then these other people were placed there, and suddenly those other people that were placed there started taking over their land, and then they are becoming the ones that are, you know, the bad guy. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Whatever your name is in this like princessy Dusty Rose outfit.
Reiterating the same talking points that we've seen since World War II. So I just really don't understand where any of this information or reaction is coming from. People have way too much time on their hands. Get a job, get a life. Stop being triggered by thin, white, hot women. Just
It's so like just so gross how she talks. Anyways, yeah. Then the guy, there's an ad. Oh yeah, Piers. Oh my gosh, this was
This is
just...
the latest blood sugar.
I do not care. I do not care. Okay.
On the Monhill, let's look at an earlier American Eagle ad, which was in the middle of the whole Me Too campaign and stuff. Do you have any problem with the lady on the left there?
Do I have a problem with her? No, I don't have a problem with her.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem
You're
with the
not
woman on the
offended
right.
by that image?
I'm not.
Fascinating.
No.
You do have a problem with the woman on the right.
No.
Anyways, I will not play this because this just like, I just wanted to strangle both of them, honestly. I'm like, why? This is why I'm like, you know, Pierce can have like such elevated discussions, and so he's capable of it, and that's why I feel like this is a choice when he's not doing that, when he's just kind of trash TVing everything. The guy though says that just because a white person doesn't see it doesn't mean it's not racist. As far as the other, you know, princess over there talking about dog whistling, things that non-Jews don't see, doesn't mean that it's not there for Jews. And so I thought that was like a really, you know, on point topic. What am I saying? It's lead on point. Point. Then let's forward to this other, because they just keep going. Like, he keeps interrupting. Pierce is like, I'm not interrupting, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And then this lady in red over here starts talking.
You have literally multiple...
Hispanic girl, no one would be saying a peep. Frank, great, let's see some campaigns. All of them.
White bodies are more beautiful. So it's not like we're coming out of nowhere here. This is at Zeus's head. We're starting from a place where we've already presumed white superiority.
We have spent the last 10 years.
All right, Jedediah.
The last 10 years, if you look at all of the marketing campaigns, we have done how many segments on television about the elevation of obesity? You see people who are massive that now we're saying it's a good thing, right? It's great. Let's celebrate everyone who's unhealthy and obese. If this ad was an African American, if this ad was a Hispanic girl, no one would be saying a peep. Frankly, I think if this ad was a white girl like me with brown hair, brown eyes, I got a little Spanish in me, I got a little Italian in me, I'm Sicilian, I got some African in me, I don't think anyone would be saying anything either.
She has some African in her. She's getting really specific. Yeah, that was like the first point. But isn't that the point? Lady in red, isn't that the point? That's literally the point. You're just making these people's points, that it's not that, it's not any of the other, you know, the majority of the population of this earth is not that. The other thing that Good American could have done, but I think their, you know, point was like, oh, who's the sex symbol of this generation, let's use her. But they could have done where it was like multiple people, multiple ads, or multiple people in the same ad talking, you know, like that. So they could have thought about that, but they didn't. And so again, that's kind of what the point of these other people, Lady in Red, that it was a white, blonde, blue-eyed, you know, girl.
This is utterly ridiculous. The only people who are offended by this ad are people who choose to be offended by everything. Either you choose to see...
I don't think so.
Racism and everything, or you choose to see sexism or misogyny. I noticed that a whole lot of women online were mad about this ad because they were jealous. It was so obvious.
Was it obvious? Or was that your interpretation? Just like it was their interpretation that this was racist. So we're all talking about opinions and interpretations. So don't say it like it's a fact that they were jealous unless they're saying, I'm jealous of this girl. You will be reading into it otherwise. So that bothers me a lot. And yeah, the other point is coming up again too.
Now they're saying that this woman is against the body positivity campaign because she's skinny. So
sorry about that. I think it's like something about how I have this connected over here, the camera. Sorry, I'll let her talk though.
So let's just say the truth. Sydney Sweeney is a sex symbol. She is a young, hot woman. She is objectively attractive. That is all this ad was about. Now, why has the stock skyrocketed for this company?
Sorry, I'm coming back. There we go. And it's hard for me to put it like in the same kind of way over here. So I'll say like this. Did she say this idea that that skinny is healthy? Again, I will talk from personal experience, but I don't think it's just personal experience. But I will give a personal experience example. I am right now overweight, literally on the line of obesity. I'm at 80 kilograms, which I don't even know how much that is. I'm 5'5". So for my height and my body composition, I'm at 176 pounds. I am on the borderline of obesity. It is probably a controversial thing. Yes, I do understand this whole like body positivity kind of going a little too far, because you have to be so obese to be considered obese. But yes, and I admit that I'm not healthy right now. I also am not this weight because I'm more muscle than fat. Because that's the other thing. It's the body composition of someone. It's not just like the number weight. On the other hand, I was underweight like 10 years ago or less than 10 years ago, because I was also less than my average body weight. My average body weight, my natural healthy body weight, has always been about 132 pounds, which is, for my kilogram people, like around 59, 60 pounds, 60 kilograms. 132, 135, it was always fluctuating, whatever, 132 to 36. That was my natural, healthy, body. It was like good composition with muscle and, fat and whatever. I wasn't like lean, but I wasn't overweight and I wasn't obese. Gosh, this is bothering me. This, how I have to like have this. Then when I was underweight, I think, how much was I? Yeah, I think I was like 118 pounds. Even at 124, you could see like what I later learned: when you don't eat enough calories and enough nutrition, you lose muscle. Your body eats away muscle, not just fat. And so you have there's like the trend of, skinny fat and all that stuff, where it's like you don't have muscle, but you don't have, but you look skinny because you don't have muscle either, and the fat that you have is like, less. Anyways, I wasn't even that. I was like really close to skin and bones, and I was not healthy. And I also wasn't there because I was eating healthily and I was exercising and having a healthy life. So I've been on both sides of it. And I will say that skinny is not healthy, just as fat is not healthy. Healthy is like the average normal, what should be average, every different height is different, and also it's not just about the scale number, it's about the body composition as well. That's why today or these days, like I don't even know my target weight. I know that it's lower than now, but I know that it's more about like uh changing my body composition to more muscle. So with where I am now in a more mature body, like maybe adding muscle more than I had before even might take me to 140 being, my healthy weight. I don't know. Um, so I just wanted to say that because I do partially agree with her as far as the body positivity movement was not very healthy. But of course, they didn't really aim it to be like health positivity. It was more body positivity to recognize that not everyone is a size zero. And I think that was good. And I think also there's maybe a tendency for us humans to kind of swing from one pendulum side to the other until we find the middle eventually. Because yeah, I agree, that's not healthy either. It wasn't all about that though. The body positivity movement was generally showing multiple different sizes of people and different skin colors and different body compositions and different things in general. It was more than just, showing fat people, as she would say.
The reason this ad has done so well is, yes, because it creates controversy and we all talk about it and we debate, and American Eagle is very smart and they knew that.
That's what I think they did. I don't think they were dog whistling anything. I don't think it was political. I think they just wanted to be popular. And controversy is popular. Everyone's talking about them now, and they will soon more and more.
But also because there is a growing segment of the population, just like me, that is saying that is so tired of walking on eggshells to cater to people like Mark's sensitivities. Frankly, I don't care if you're offended.
Oh, boo hoo hoo. Your historically conventional standard is being challenged. I feel just like so sad for you. Sorry, I'm getting petty over
You could
here.
put an ad out and offend this person over here or that person over there. Everyone is always going to get offended by something. Who cares? Here's the bottom line.
Everyone should care. There's a difference between like going to the extreme of this, saying, it's dog whistling, white supremacy, to like not caring that some people do perceive it that way. Some people do feel that there's messaging for that in that sense. And I don't like it's just avoid it all. Because I feel uncomfortable because I'm so tired of people challenging, norms and the things that we've taken for granted that have not been very ethical and very moral and very good for us. Yeah.
Stop getting so offended. If you see everything,
maybe stop also being so like not, with it, lady.
Through the lens of race, that's your problem. That's not Sydney Sweeney's problem. That's not American Eagle.
I would absolutely beg to differ. It's not Sydney Sweeney's or whatever, but it's absolutely American Eagle's problem. It's absolutely how they are perceived, how their brand is perceived is 100% their problem. Because they gather all this data and information to market to people to buy their product. It is 100% something they should be, and I feel like they are, hearing it. They might not respond to it, obviously, but right now by their response, but like, I do not agree.
Eagle's problem, if you see everything through the lens of misogyny, it's the same conversation over and over again.
Yeah,
blah blah. Anyways, I will read the rest because I'm kind of already tired of hearing them talk. Let me first read the chat. Hi Andrea. They have good genes. I'm glad I'm clueless. I just see a jeans ad. Yeah, sometimes I do agree, Maria, and that's why I'm like I'm on both and neither side at the same. Oh, sorry, you can't see me. That's why I agree that it's or agree that I agree with both and neither. Let me see. Will it work? Let's see if it works. Maybe. All right. Let's hope that it will work. I agree their sales are going up. Yeah. So yeah, I sometimes it is nice to be clueless. I think I'm personally getting more towards the middle of the pendulum swinging myself, where I don't fully agree with either of these people, and I don't fully disagree with any of these people. I think there's truth and there's something valuable in what everyone's saying. Um, and yeah, what I disagree with is taking it to extreme and just these like low attacks. And I think we need, myself included, to work on ourselves, not be that triggered, to be more like that Anastasia or Anastasia or whatever person, and speak from a centered space and not from a triggered space, and just like calling, making every word kind of attacking each other. Like, oh, you're woke left, and that's an insult, or oh, you're whatever right, and that's an insult. That's where I'm on. I will say though, I also have moments and tendencies, and I feel a little less like lately, but to boycott, and that's something that people can do, and um it's not going to change too much, honestly, I think. But yeah, I think things like this, these conversations. Sorry, my mic was getting low on battery. Do but yeah, you're 5'3", 125, and my doctor said I'm healthy, especially for my age. Yeah, I think that's like a good weight. But again, it's not just like the numbers; it's the body composition and stuff. And how what you're putting in your body and how you're treating your body too. Like if there's people who are not eating enough, and or like they're eating, junk food that um is like just empty nutrition all the time, and they're like, not overweight, doesn't make them healthier, kind of thing, or they don't move. I was talking to my Zumba instructor this morning, and we're talking about, I just don't really feel like going into like the whole grandfather thing, because I had mentioned that I'll talk about it later, but it's I feel very uncomfortable talking about it, but I appreciate the help and the consideration, for anyone who saw that message. But I was mentioning it to her, and we were talking about how Americans tend to be very healthy. Like you see 80-year-olds and 90-year-old people at Zumba, I see them. But before that, like since I moved here, like you would see them jogging at 90 years old. Um, yes, not everyone, but we were talking about how, at least I feel like it's because there's such a big fitness culture in the US. There's a big like running and going to the gym and stuff for a few decades now. And I think that matters a lot when you don't stop moving and you move. And there's something I recently saw on YouTube where people there's like this like squatting thing, like do squats, but not like fitness squats, but like full squats, like really going into a squat position and up, and I don't know, stretching, lubricating your joints, not just through like collagen eating and all that stuff, but also through movement. I notice when I stretch, my joints, it's not the popping, but like they grind less. Because my joints sometimes grind, but if I'm like stretching consistently, they don't. So things like that. You know, it's not just about how someone looks. It's not just like Sydney looking and being a size 0 or whatever, 23, whatever. I don't even know size 23 in what country, because there's, you know, it's, I don't know. Yeah, 00 to 000 size in the US. Especially because I believe that sizes in the US have changed recently. They've kind of gone, I don't know. But yeah, and so yeah, the other stuff that, you know, came up after these people, you put them back on here. Oh, okay, wait, sorry. Just thrown off because I appeared anyways. The problem with woke left, one of them said, is that that's the reason Trump won, because gosh, I don't even know. I didn't even like put where this and who said this.
And anyone who likes it must be cancelled. An obvious example of Nazism, eugenics, white supremacy must be cancelled. For anyone who identifies that nobody wants to vote for you. Over to you.
Yeah, I hear where you're coming from, and I think that kind of strong narratives between, you know, woke left, kind of hijacking everything, is part of a narrative of labeling people and not allowing nuance and context of what is actually happening here. So I'm not really interested in being inflammatory around the subject. Neither do I think that this particular campaign is a propaganda campaign for eugenics.
Little does she understand that this is not okay with these other people, with peers. Like, they want her to be inflammatory. They want for all of this to be inflammatory. Anyways, I don't know. Something about, like, you know, Trump won because the woke left is offended by everything, basically, stuff like that. And I personally am like, okay, sure. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. That's part of the reason he won, part of the people that voted for him. How is that a good thing, though? You know, it's the whole, like, when you're working in companies, it's that whole thing like, well, we've always done it this way. Why would you want to change? I mean, that's why I lost my other job, honestly. That's what I think. Because people did not want to be challenged to do something better and to evolve with the times and everything. So, like, how is that a good argument? I don't see how that's a good argument. Then someone says that you hate fat people, I guess. When, who said that?
Your 12-hour
Oh my gosh, these ads are just like, are just so annoying. Minute 25:58. All right, let's just scoot on over there. I was just saying that no more of these people, but here I am because it's easier, because I don't remember exactly all that.
All the time.
I'd say somewhere in the last 5 to 6 years, the oldest marketing ploy from the beginning of time is sex sells. Every single person knows that. And the problem with the left and everybody who's offended by this is they extrapolate. It's not just this situation. They hear somebody say, I love being thin. And they go, oh, so you hate fat people? Sydney Sweeney saying she has good genes, which there's a lot that goes into having good genes we don't know about. Maybe she doesn't have any history of family illness. Maybe she has very low visceral fat. Like you said, Piers, great skin, didn't need braces. It's much
You don't even freaking know if she didn't need braces, lady.
more than just having blonde hair and blue eyes, okay? But to say that Sydney Sweeney has good genes means now we're saying that all these other people don't have good genes. Relax. Why do you have to always get offended by every single thing? Nobody's saying that. And
I don't think that nobody's saying that. Anyways, so oh yeah, she goes on to criticize Abercrombie shirtless model critics. But yeah, the you hate fat people insinuation because you say that, you know, she's skinny and therefore she's beautiful or whatever. There was something else that she said though, right before that, right after that.
It's not fat people. Sydney Sweeney saying she has good.
Oh, that it could be that she meant that she doesn't have any like illnesses, genetic illnesses, blah blah blah. And if anyone's like really delusional is this lady talking like that, because that is just making excuses. That is not something like that is like trying really hard to prove that it's not what all these other people are saying, because she could have said that. And I am 99% sure the people in American Eagle, when they came up with this campaign, did not even think about, oh, well, we want to say that she has good genes, like she doesn't have diseases, but that's a little too complicated, that's not ad worthy, so we'll just say hair and eye color and personality, which again, personality is not really genetic. But yeah, anyways, so then she says that the people that criticize Abercrombie shirtless models were the same ones that dreamt of being with those models. I don't think I criticized them. I wasn't attracted to them either. But I don't think that's true. It's just like, I feel like, again, this is like just becoming like trash TV with these people at this point. So yeah, empty commentary. And then the promotion of morbid obesity. Now we're getting into weight issues. I was saying Sydney Sweeney is not super thin. She's well-rounded. I'm like, where is she well-rounded? Because she has like a certain cup size and like a butt, but she's skinny otherwise. Like, where is she well-rounded? And in the ad, you can't even tell that. Maybe she is, but in the ad, she looks extremely skinny, and she is a size 0. So I think it was also this dusty rose-colored person saying that she's not a size 0. And then finally, I was saying that back to the Fran Drescher thing. If we don't buy it, they don't make it. And so if the people that are like so against this, and I'm not saying I'm not saying that I am, but and I'm not saying that just because I don't want to be controversial and I want people to like me. Obviously, I think I lost one or a few people tonight. Sorry. But yeah, I just feel like you can vote with how you spend your money on these things. You can have an impact. There's so much power in numbers, and that is really the only power. Whether it's numbers as far as money amounts or numbers as far as like, however many people come together. So if there's a problem, that's how, it can be helped, I guess. But yeah, I feel like there's a bit of an exaggeration with this. I agree with Andy, Popcorn Planet Andy, when he said that the outrage created the story. Without the outrage, it wasn't a story. It just doesn't make it better either if it would have slipped by. So, yeah, after hearing so many of these people talk about this, nope, not you. Stop. Sorry. Apple products, and they're like, oh, did you call for me? I do understand a bit more why this is like so controversial and stuff. I think, again, I don't think this was a white supremacy dog whistle ad campaign. I think it was bad taste, as far as like we should be further along, we should be more evolved than that, but we're not, so whatever. Not whatever, but and yeah. I will not talk about 90 Day Fiance because I forgot about it, honestly, when I was preparing. And as far as like Blake Lively, I will go really fast through this because it's already so late and I'm actually hungry. Lauren made page 6, the Court of Random Opinion, Lauren, and People, I think, and some other places. And I have it pulled up somewhere. Sorry. I don't know. I'm so tired. A bunch of different places. US, Extra TV, US Magazine, and Daily Mail, I think they mention her. And they mentioned some other content creators too. And so yeah, I just was seeing one of her videos, and she was saying this is so weird for her, and yeah, like I can only imagine. Marvel's lowering priorities on Deadpool and Wolverine. And I thought that was an interesting, I feel like that's more of an interesting story than, the subpoenas and all the things that are happening right now. Let me pull that up. Where is it? So this is that one. And sorry. And the thing that, like, talk about from one controversy and one dog whistling, conversation to another. The title is saying that Marvel's next moves, Black Panther 3 and a young X-Men cast, this is the move that they're making in order to keep costs down. Blade and Deadpool 4 are lower priorities. What are you trying to say as far as Black Panther 3? Because young cast, yeah, you can pay them less, right? Can't you? And are you paying the Black Panther cast less? Maybe I was like really coming from the Sydney Sweeney thing. Finally got her name right. But yeah. According to Andy, Deadpool made $1.4 billion dollars. And so he's like, it would have made sense for them to go with that. But I do 100% believe that, Disney does not want to be associated right now with Ryan Reynolds or deal with any of that or get, pulled into the lawsuit, even as a satellite, because they tried so hard to get out of it as far as like being subpoenaed and all that stuff. But yeah, I think it's a great move, and I don't know. I feel like, maybe there's a swing towards better morality and consequences in this world, but we'll see. Um but yeah, the Fantastic Four pulled 218 million globally. And then Superman, 100 million, including an anemic 4.5 million in China. Yeah, I do not like. I never was a huge Superman fan. I did not really. I don't care. And it was filmed here, or like mostly here, and I think the director is from here too. I don't care. I know it was so big last summer. I didn't know about it actually until my neighbors said, "Oh, we want to go see it or see how it's being filmed or whatever." And they didn't understand that it was during like business hours. But it depends on the movie. Anyways, mostly though it is during the day. Either way, yeah, I'm not surprised about Superman because, yeah, I don't know. To me, it was always a boring one. I mean, Batman, I felt like was more interesting than Superman. It was just like kind of a very I feel like it's too old. Like it fit more in the past when it was created, but it's kind of been hard to translate it to what people are looking for in a superhero or in a saving type of idea, or story wise. I don't know, like, excuse me, like the Fantastic Four, there are four different personalities. It's interesting. It has, excuse me, this theme of like 1960s sort of look, um or 50s or whatever. And I don't know, it's just different. But like Superman is like, okay, there's this guy and he flies and he saves and he, you know, whatever. I don't know. Maybe that wasn't the movie. Maybe they, you know, updated it to make more of an interesting story, but like, I don't know. I'm curious to see if they talk about why are they talking about X-Men so much? Curious about the whatever you call it. The Last of Us. I want them to come out with Death Stranding movie. And it should be by the creator of Death Stranding, who wanted initially to be a film director. He should direct it. He should create the movie. He should direct it. And it will be like full circle. And I would love that for him. And I think it's such an amazing story and an amazing creative, I've not seen before sort of story. So that deserves his time. I want to see though more about this Black Panther stuff. They don't even talk about it. They mention it and it's just like X-Men here and X-Men there and whatever. Okay, finally. However, ideas. Okay, so Deadpool, blah blah blah. Is feeling no sense of urgency on the long gestating Blade reboot or even a new Deadpool outing, sources say. However, ideas are percolating on a Ryan Coogler helmed Black Panther 3, creating excitement internally. Ultimately, Marvel is through. Okay, so that was it. All right. It brought Fantastic Four back from the grave, a tricky property that proved vexing in the past. That's quite the phrase. Fans have embraced the effort, giving the film an A- cinema score. I mean, it was good. Like I said, me, you know, trying really hard not to fall asleep was not the movie's fault by any means. But I think again, it could have been a little bit smarter screenwriting as far as like those, or storytelling as far as like those like 3 little things or 4 things. I haven't even heard about Thunderbolts and the Marvels and all that stuff. I don't know. I saw something that was very interesting. It's so interesting that they you know, Black Panther is all over here and then they barely mention it in one sentence. But again, it just kind of makes me feel like, why are you talking about saving costs and, you know, talking about young cast, like insinuating that these people you don't have to pay as much as Deadpool and Blade. I don't know. What was I say? Oh, yeah. So there's this content, what is it? Content creator something. Oh, it's cold. It's too cold for my parakeets, darn it. There's the A24 kind of mashup with Camp, what is it? Camp Studios, or yeah, these people. I thought that was like really cool. And their whole thing is about, you know, the next Hollywood is kind of outdated. You know, it's all about reboots and blah blah blahs and just regurgitating certain stuff. This is not the one that I saw. Where was it? Yeah, this one.
Tired. Sequels, reboots, franchises. It's the same story over and over. Audiences are tuning out. Studios now bet everything on billion-dollar blockbusters, leaving no room for bold new ideas. But while Hollywood sleeps, the internet wakes. Bedroom filmmakers armed with cheap tools and direct audiences are starting to prove what's possible. They're making stories the world is hungry for, unfiltered and original. Yet, there's no bridge for these artists to cross. Hollywood's gates remain closed, shackled by the
Anyways, blah 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 blah. Follow them if you want. I started following them and I want to know more. But yeah, I think there is something to that. And Marvel had what, like almost 10 years of a lot of success, of a lot of reboots and different angles of the same story, as I was saying earlier. And it needs to go away. Like when my little, Fandango points were expiring, I was like, I don't see really a movie that I want to see. For a while in June, I think there were so many interesting movies that were different. Life of Chuck was like really like, ooh, what is this about? I want to, go see it. I don't even want to see the trailer necessarily, maybe a little bit, but like I want to go see it, and experience it and just find something new out about, I don't know, be presented with something that I didn't think about, or, it's not a particular story that it's been tried and true, but also in a way that I was talking about the last song, I think that was the name of it, where it's not that either. It's not pretentious and it's not, quiet and independent. It's still like an artistic, mainstream film, but it's interesting, it's creative. That's when I went to, film school. I went to England and not US, not because of money, but more so because like I didn't really respect anything that was being created here, but I respected what was being created like with Sherlock, the show in the UK. That's what made me go to the UK. And then when I came back, I think I was watching a lot of like Korean movies, Korean dramas that were like interesting as far as like the way that they were editing things and the way that they were kind of experimenting with, different editing styles and, presenting stories and interactive with, introducing a little bit of like comic book feel. There was the one, I think it was the Water God one, I think, that had like little like sound effects and maybe speech bubbles or something like that. As well as like, merging different genres in one show. W is a great show if you're wanting to watch anything Korean drama wise. That was, at least at that time for me, it was like just mind blowing because they literally would go from episode to episode being a different genre and really like selling it, you know? And so that was like so much more interesting. And then like story wise, it was kind of like the same story, like, the same sort of romance and blah blah blah. And they definitely were a little more on the behind as far as gender equality or things. I mean, good at Eagle or American Eagle or whatever commercial is like probably amazing in Korea, or at least, in 2017. So, yeah, not perfect, but yeah, Parasite though came from there, and Parasite was just like mind blowing. And so, what I'm going to Fandango to see, like, what movie should I, spend this like credit on, because I have a $10 credit every month. It's like, yeah, one movie. There's not much. It's either like horror movies or Marvel-ish type movies or whatever. And yeah. And I think like as a whole, even the American Eagle ad, I think that is also coming from like, well, but this has been tried and true. Like that one lady was saying, it's been, um a story as old as time, maybe not as old as time, but for a long time, marketing has been um, exactly that, exactly, sex sells. And so, in different degrees, depending on, the comfortability of the audience. But like, why not do something different? And then you have like things like, Ryan, um, forgot his name. Oh no. Blake's husband. For once, he's Blake's husband. Look at that. See, she got what she wanted in the end. But yeah, his way of marketing is, slightly different. It's like crude and, funny based, but crude humor. Um, but that's different, and it caught on because it was different. It didn't need to be sexy. It was just like funny and refreshing. And when Mint Mobile came out, I liked his ads because they were different. So yeah, I agree with Creator Camp over here, and then uh, with Marvel, I think they might be sort of like clinging on to something that if they're not careful, if they're overdoing it, because they're like, oh, let's just shoot out as many movies as possible and get as much money. Really Disney, I guess, should think a bit more strategically, and pop out with some more unique things. And they are doing a lot of cartoon or animated, not even cartoon, but animated movies, Disney is. And it's interesting. There are a couple that I have yet to see that I really wanted to see, like, is it Soul? And there's like other ones. Um, but maybe, do a little bit of like movies too that are interesting. I don't know that Disney should change. I just think Hollywood needs more diversity than just Disney movies, you know? Anyways, yeah, horror. Maria's ears perked up, like, horror. um yeah, as far as like everything else, sorry. I'm here. As far as anything else with Blake Lively, the subpoenas, the whole topic of, was this intimidation? Was it also potentially to basically punish in a, I don't know if this is like NPD, narcissistic personality disorder trait, but like to punish content creators by, because so many had to file to like gather funds, money that many didn't even have, to hire lawyers or in anticipation. And that came up because I was watching Without a Crystal Ball's latest video, or one of her latest videos, and she was talking about how basically she wasted money with gathering all this stuff of, lawyers, and the lawyers gathering stuff. This is that point.
My attorney spent more than 2 weeks working. We had a motion to quash drafted. We had my declaration drafted. We had been going back and forth with her attorneys for weeks trying to get them to drop it. And it was only after they started hitting the docket that she started withdrawing subpoenas. And many of the impacted content creators are writing letters to the judge.
Anyways, so that kind of brought up that point. It doesn't even have to be anything related to narcissism and all that stuff, but just her audacity from this place of desperation, and from this place of wherever she started this whole thing from. Then Andy was saying that it was an intimidation tactic, because and even like an abusive process, maybe his lawyers are saying, because it's such a messy docket with everything that was coming up. And then as soon as people were fighting back and realizing that, maybe they didn't think Google would, and X and TikTok would like let their people know that they're being subpoenaed. I don't know. But yeah, then they started withdrawing. Did they withdraw? We still don't really know why they withdrew. The one thing that they also probably didn't expect is that people's audiences grew, and the financial support that audiences, that this mass of people that are against Blake, and not just pro Justin, but just kind of really fed up with Blake Lively, they maybe missed or underestimated them, as far as like how much money they can support content creators with, and how much following and time they can support them with. So yeah, that's like one point. Maybe not Blake, but Ezra sure did. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Ezra Hudson, she's proving to be, or not proving necessarily, but she's seeming to be not um not a great person, not a great lawyer, not a very ethical lawyer. Yeah. I don't know her as a person. I shouldn't really say anything right now. I don't know anything about her as a person. But as a lawyer, um I wouldn't want her associated with me. Let's just say that. Um Looney, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Um, and then there's this whole Friedman fact witness thing that apparently he was notified on December 23rd, no later than December 23rd, that he'll be a fact witness. And I was like, what? I agree with everyone that's saying, and I forget, I think Lauren was saying, like, isn't this a dangerous slope? Because then anybody can say anything about any attorney, like, oh, they were in on it, they're an accomplice, and in order to get around the client attorney privilege. And with therapy and attorneys, like, that's something that you really, so far, I feel like you need to really prove a really good reason why you need to break that privilege of confidentiality for good reason. So I don't I don't know. And the whole, like, um this is where this lawyer from Blake Lively's side, stating that somewhere, I don't know, um about the fact witness, but also about him calling her a B word, and it's over here somewhere. Where is it? Yeah. So this is Megyn Kelly, and this is even in their transcript in this document. Megyn Kelly is saying the B word, not Brian Friedman. Let's see if bitter foods, when our answers, they really included everything. Bitters, 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 bitters. Yeah. So it was mentioned here, minute 15:08, which we saw, by Megyn Kelly. And as Lauren also pointed out, it wasn't even Megyn that was saying it. And I think I have that video of, yeah, I found this randomly. Maybe I don't. No, I don't think that was it. Was it? Yeah, maybe.
Civil Rights Division complaint, and then my allegations will be protected, undermining any attempt to sue me for potentially defamatory statements. And then I will leak it to the New York Times, so it will get out there.
Megyn talking about, hypothesizing what was in Blake's mind.
And then everyone will know that I'm the victim here, as opposed to the narrative that existed prior to her filing that complaint, which was, she seems like a real bitch, and she is tone deaf on domestic violence, and she seems to have blown up her movie.
Just like American Eagle seems now to have, like, oh, well, our campaign was really, it was this campaign to support whatever. Domestic violence prevention or whatever. I wonder if they said that just what is it? Retrospectively? Retroactively. Retrospectively. But yeah, so I wonder, like, how they could have done that. Is it just for the headlines and people not looking into it at all beyond that? Because literally, you don't even have to go watch Megyn Kelly talk. it's in the transcript that he doesn't call her that, that Megyn Kelly calls her that. So it's just it I don't know. I more and more I would be surprised if she wins. It's just it's yeah, I don't know. That alone, it's just like getting they say that, people get desperate and they can't cover their tracks that well. They slip up, they get messy, and the more this will go on, the more that will happen. I feel like this is one of them. Her deposition happened finally, and the whole headlines of Justin surprising her, which was not a surprise. I mean, we knew. I think at the hearing that they had, that my first and only hearing that I was calling in for, not as just an audience of general public, um, that they said it even then that they will choose the location and all the parties will know. Everyone that will be in attendance has to be notified of everyone that will be in attendance, basically. And so it was not a surprise. I do find it, people are saying that's like usual. I have no idea. Again, this is the first court case that I'm covering, that I'm interested in, that I'm aware of, all these things. So I'm learning on the job. But I do find it odd a bit, for both sides. But as far as like suits, the positions always had the client and the attorney for both sides in the room. So I guess in that sense, it's common, but I don't know. But the whole thing, like, oh, he's psychologically abusing her or whatever, he's trying to intimidate her, manipulate her because he's like over there in the same room staring her down or whatever. That's why I feel like I wish, maybe, even though this is, I guess, more common than not, in that sense, I wish that he wasn't in the room, just for that narrative that people will spin. This Ezra is a character. Yeah, I like. Yeah. She meant people in general were like, yeah, that's what I got. Yeah, that it was just a. She sounds like that. She sounds like a real bee or whatever. Or that people were saying that. They had no problem redacting her stuff, but who cares about everyone else, right? Yeah. Not Actually Golden said the judge won't go for this. I have not watched Not Actually Golden in a bit. Dave Neal said he had an inside source and he couldn't say anything, but it was not good for Blake. That's all he can say. That's good. Yeah. I mean, it's been for a while, right? When what happened? Something happened where she did file an amended complaint that is a headache. I'm not gonna read that tonight. Obviously, it's already won. But when she wasn't rejoicing like she usually has, that kind of sent up like little red flags or orange flags, like something's happening where she's not that happy. She's not that confident. Her camp is not that confident. And yeah. Her deposition didn't go that great, you're saying. Okay. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Shirsty also talked about how people, the magazine, were deleting comments that were not pro Blake. So that's fun.
For no apparent.
Nope. Always does that.
Is this article the same day as Blake Lively is being deposed and all these motions to quash are hitting the docket? Ryan Reynolds, there's a story in USA Today of Ryan Reynolds career from Green Lantern to Deadpool. Also, thank you, Nicole, in People magazine. And it says Justin Baldoni's lawyer previously called the actor a person who wants to be vindicated, and that's all that he cares about. Of course, he wants to be vindicated. But then Bruce tried to comment on in the comment section here, and his comments were always deactivated by people. And he sent me some screenshots when someone was saying that Justin Baldoni is manipulative psychopath, whatever. And then Bruce said that you must be.
This is the one, yeah, that he's in attendance at her deposition. Just another way of trying to manipulate her. He is showing his psychopathy. All right.
New here. Blake lied. And People magazine retracted his comments. And they did that with several other comments as well. And none of his comments were offensive. So there's obviously someone sitting at People just removing all comments that are not pro Blake Lively. It's so ridiculous, but it's so obvious as well.
I don't know if it's obvious, honestly, because people won't know what was not shown. So unfortunately, I don't think it's that obvious. The other thing that she mentioned was that Blake will have to fight all of these different content creators that she came after that filed motions to quash in their own court. Perez Hilton in Las Vegas, Andy in Florida, and how that's kind of great. But I also was thinking, like, are they still hoping to get money back and triple the damages back? And in that sense, it's not that they will, I don't think at this point, but if they would, are they doing it just to rack up more bills? I don't know. But it'll definitely keep them busy for sure. Justin has just one just one thing, I think, right? One lawsuit, which is with her to fight off. And yeah, I would have loved to be a fly on the wall or with a microphone in that room. Yeah. He said it's hard to keep up your lies without slipping. I'm curious. Yeah. She knew beforehand that he would show up. It wasn't a surprise. Yeah. I really am curious. I would love to be a fly on the wall, but I really want those people that did the statistics for Bachelor, that had all these like spreadsheets and statistics. I want them to somehow, I don't know if it's possible to make, oh my god. Sorry, to make a spreadsheet or to make the statistics for how many people really are on Blake's side, or versus how many people just don't care that much, don't know that much, versus not on her side. I'd love to see that. Talk about fly on the wall. I would love to see, I don't know, that's not really being a fly on any wall, but see that insight. It was one of her conditions, right? That she know everything. Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, we've come to the end of this crazy live. Definitely feel like Kenergy is not going to come back. But I don't really I don't retract what I said. I was going to say I don't really mind what I said, but of course I said it. But I believe in what I said. I stand by what I said, that I don't think politics is personal, if that's what she meant. That I think politics are kind of put onto us. And I don't know. I don't think it was that political. I don't know. But either way, I also just feel like it was bad taste. It was not evolved with the times type of thing either. So yeah, and I'm not in the middle because like I said, I'm repeating myself. I'm not in the middle because I want to be liked, because clearly I would say other things. Anyways, so Wall is good too. Floor, chair, and window as long as I'm in that room. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, that tape is like the most valuable tape, not in the world ever, but like currently is in the top 5 for sure. You know, it's in the top 5. Do you think she cried? I don't think so. I don't think she can. I don't think she can, even like as acting, I don't think she can cry on command like that. And I don't think nothing that she claimed was cry worthy. So I don't imagine how she would have. It was just inconveniences, and she always like she came across more stressed about it than like sad or like traumatized. So I don't know, but yeah, I don't think so. Um, I'm so cold. If I was at my own home, I would be turning on the heat, but I'm not there, and I'm like freezing. Anyways, more than the Johnny and Amber's was. I don't know what I just said. Oh, yeah, the tape, the deposition tape. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That was like, again, to me, that was just, it shouldn't even have been televised. It was a, personal situation. Um, this is industry upside down. This is just like crazy. And yeah, I agree that. Oh, I just saw that I had potentially. So I have some strawberries that are trying to turn red and not be eaten. And something bit my strawberry that was white, not even ripe yet. Um, and yeah, I was seeing this hack of putting garbage, like a trash can, not garbage can, but a trash can over it from the dollar store. And I just looked down and I have 2 here because one is holding my power strip because it's not like the camera cable is too short, so it needs to be up there. Um, but I could have put that instead of buying another one. But it's okay, especially because it was like the strawberry plant grew, so I was like trying to fit it all in underneath overnight. We'll see what happened. I had raccoons the other day, and I was really mad. I was ready. Monday, after I got off the live, I looked at my camera, and the recording showed raccoons. Oh my gosh, no, I have to show you this. I have to show you guys because this is just the cutest, funniest, aggravating thing. I don't know if I can access it. They climbed over the fence and they weren't expecting it. They haven't been there before or since. So I think there was a mom and little raccoon pups or whatever. And I think she was kind of teaching them to like climb. My stepfather was saying that they're pretty lazy. They don't climb if they don't have to. And so I think she was just teaching them to climb and stuff. And um, yeah, they found themselves in a vegetable garden that was fenced with a mesh fence. And the face, you can't really see it at first because it's so um it was on Tuesday morning. It's so dark that you only see the eyes, but I swear I can see the eyes like go wider when they like run into the net, and their little hands like keep going like that. Like, what is holding? Why can't we leave? And panicking. But yeah, I was ready to get up and go chase them, but it was way too late by the time I saw that. Though, we went with live so late that they were gone. But yeah, I think it was Monday. Was I Monday? Yeah, it was Monday. Here. It was cute. They are so cute. They're so cute. but they kind of not trashed my vegetable garden, but definitely, you know, didn't help it. Let's see. It's like thinking and thinking and thinking. Probably, yeah, I can see this better here. Is it playing? Still thinking. Still thinking. Thinking. That like little spinning circle thing. I hate that. So my one tomato plant right now, I bought some new stakes because it's pretty much to the ground from like, we also had rain and stuff. Oh my gosh. It's not that hard to load. Anyways. Oh, there we go. It's coming. I think this is the one where, yeah, look at that. I don't know why it's loading so like difficult. Oh my gosh, this is so annoying. Sorry, it's so slow. Oh my god, so cute though. It is interesting that they never were able to rip into the mesh, and I've ripped into the mesh, so it's not that difficult. So yeah, it's interesting. Not with my hands, but it's not impermeable. It's out of like, you know, mesh. Oh my gosh, why is this so slow? No, so cute though. I think I have a recording of it somewhere. And eventually she did climb over a little. I think it was she who climbed over. I don't, or maybe she pushed over the pups. There was one pup inside, and I think the other one's outside. I don't know. I didn't have the patience. I should just kind of record it all. I didn't have the patience to see it all. Is this? Yeah. There we go. Nope. Sorry. Oh my gosh. They are so cute. I saw, do you guys know the person that feeds raccoons on YouTube? There's this guy that feeds raccoons. That's like, kind of makes me think of that. Where am I going? And then you can see like the plants moving. It's like a little like cartoon movie. And then she goes like, maybe over here. And then no. But that's where they like went over. But that's the tomato plant that they trashed. And the strawberries. I wonder if first they took a bite out of the strawberries. So, yeah, very cute, but very, very frustrating. Anyways, ending on like a nice note. Again, I'm not going to go into like the personal thing. I was going to, but it's I don't feel I don't know. It's I don't know, maybe Monday. I just feel like it's a little odd to talk about it right now after all that we've talked about. Yeah. But yeah. Oh. Have a wonderful night. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. Yeah. I don't know. Have a wonderful weekend. And I'll see you guys on Monday. Have a good night. Thank you. And as always, peace, love, and compassion and empathy. And Critical thinking. I haven't said that in a while, but yeah, good stuff. And remembering there's like new ones and everything. Yeah. Thank you, Maria. Have a wonderful night. All right. Let's end with some song. I don't know what song. All right. Have a wonderful night. Bye. I forgot to put the end screen, so this is just